Sills, as we've been saying all week, Super Bowl week, you get a lot of great storylines for your particular football team, Bills, Eagles, Steelers, what have you. You get a lot of great storylines. It's the greatest sporting event in American sports is clearly the Super Bowl. It's no longer just a sporting event. It's more of a television event. And that's why networks, that's why streaming, that's why online is just absolutely taking off. I mean, there's nothing like it. There's just nothing like it. You know, I was listening to Steve Young live from Media Row. Now it's no longer Radio Row, it's Media Row. And, you know, he was talking about the two quarterbacks, Brock Purdy and Patrick Mahomes. Two different stories, huh? It's incredible, the storylines that you have with both those guys. One guy's going for his place in history, and the other guy's looking to make history. You know, I mean, the money, the underdog story. Are you rooting for Brock Purdy? Are you pulling for Patrick Mahomes? And Steve Young said this, and this goes down the line of Jalen Hurts here. Do you think Philadelphia is a place that quarterbacks want to play? Steve Young named 5 NFL teams that he'd want to play for today. Do you think Philly's one of those? Do you think if you were a prospect, because again, I heard Tone and Rob talking about Patrick Mahomes. And by the way, if Patrick Mahomes lands in Chicago, is Patrick Mahomes Patrick Mahomes? No. He lands with Andy Reid. You line up the stars together, and you know what you get? You get magic. Montana and Walsh. Kyle Shanahan. Brock Purdy. Could Brock Purdy go to the Raiders like Garoppolo and be a star? I don't think so. Okay? Here's the deal what you have. He named these 5. Steve Young named these 5 football programs that he would want to play today at. He says there's only 5 places that you can land and get proper schooling. And now that you probably have Jim Harbaugh in the room with Greg Roman, you know what you have now? You have another team. I think it's 6. Kansas City, San Francisco, the Rams, Green Bay, Miami, and the Chargers. Those are the only 6 places that if I was a quarterback coming out of college that I'd want to play at. Why? Andy Reid, Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, Matt LaFleur, Mike McDaniel, and Jim Harbaugh. The rest of them, it's going to be hit or miss. You see, we were talking about the drafting of quarterbacks yesterday and how in the last decade, only one quarterback has won a Super Bowl in the last decade, and that's Mahomes. And 29 quarterbacks were drafted in the first round. Only one has won, and only 3 have gone. You have to land where the coach is that can get the best out of you. That's in anything. How many times? Hey, I can't tell you in my media business, you can have the greatest show on the planet. You know, I'm in Tampa for 15 years. I had the head of programming behind me. I had the program director, my friend. We were selling the show hand over fist. We're making $175,000 a month. Everything was great. I wanted to think grass was greener on the other side. And so what did I do? I went to a place that had shitty management, shitty people, shitty salespeople. You got to line the stars up. Grass isn't always greener. You got to find good people around you to succeed. That's why, to me, it's not so much about drafting a good quarterback. Do you have the stars aligned? Philadelphia doesn't have anything aligned with a coach that's going to develop you as a quarterback. Nick Sirianni's not going to develop you as a quarterback. Will Kellen Moore? Okay. I'll tell you one thing Kansas City's figured out also. What do you think the magic with Kansas City is? My guy Tone brought this up a couple days ago, kind of. But what do you think Kansas City's figured out? They figured out the coaching. It's Teflon. Spagnuolo's not getting a job. You would call him one of the top 2 defensive coordinators in the game. Andy Reid's one of the top 2, if not the best, head coach, signal caller, and play caller in the league. And it's Teflon. Patrick Mahomes is going to have the same D coordinator and the same head coach for a decade. What quarterback is going to have that behind him? How many coordinators has Jalen Hurts been through already? How many coordinators on both sides of the ball? Especially in this evolution of the NFL where you're constantly looking for the new young guy. Kansas City has figured out the dynamic in coaching. Joe Montana had Bill Walsh for his entire coaching career. Bill Walsh had him. He had Steve DeBerg early, but then when he saw that Montana was the guy, the luxury of having him, coaching him. Look at Belichick, same thing. As much as people think Bill's not a great offensive-minded guy, how could you not be considered the greatest defensive-minded guy in the world if you don't know what offensive guys are thinking? I never got that. Bill's not really an offensive-minded guy. Well, how can that be? He's coordinated against Peyton Manning and beat him. He's coordinated against some of the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history and beat him. How could he not be an offensive-minded guy as well? Right? Okay. So here, let's take this to Nick. Let's take this to Vic Fangio. How many people like the hire that the Eagles have made with the defensive coordinator? Hey, for the record, I do too. For the record, I like it. How many people like the hire of Vic Fangio? Shane Steichen was the first coordinator that Jalen had for more than 1 year since high school. He's only had him 2 years. Okay? I'm with you, CJ. I like the hire a lot myself. Fire Fangio? I'd like to see what he could do first before we run down there. I got to see the play on the field. Scott, that's fair. But let's take a look at this. Do you remember Brian Johnson, your offensive coordinator? Here was his game plan against Vic Fangio when the Miami Dolphins were healthy and they had a bunch of good players on the field. This is what Brian Johnson and Jalen Hurts did to Vic Fangio this year. They put up 26 points on the Dolphins. By the way, Sean Desai held the Dolphins offense to 12. Total yards. Eagles put up 355 yards on Vic Fangio's defense. Held the Dolphin high-powered offense to 244. Pretty good job, Sean Desai. Eagles didn't run the ball very well, and I don't really think they ran the ball well at all year. 99 yards. Sean Desai held the Dolphins, who had running backs that were on pace for 1,000 yards apiece before they got injured, to 45 yards rushing. Here's what Jalen did in the game against Vic Fangio, the new D coordinator of the Eagles. 23 of 31, 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, a pick, 109.5. Will we not say that's one of his better games of the year? Swift had 62 yards rushing, about 4.5 yards a carry against Vic Fangio's defense. And A.J. Brown had 137 yards receiving on 10 catches with 1 touchdown. Looks to me like the Eagles ate them up and Vic Fangio's defense. So I'm optimistic. But this was an offense, again, I would probably say that the Miami game could have been the Eagles' best game. Okay? That could have been your best game, even better than Buffalo and Kansas City. You could make the argument that was the best game. But they ate them up, man. They did. They pretty much ate them up in that football game. So what is Vic Fangio going to do with that defense, with the personnel that he has there now? I don't really think this is going to be about Vic. This is going to be more about Howie and Howie Roseman and how Howie Roseman retools that football team. I mean, I really don't see this as a quick fix. I mean, the team went against Vic, and Vic had decent personnel. I would say that the Dolphins had better defensive personnel than what the Eagles had, and the Eagles killed it. They got player issues in Miami as well. Same as Philly. But I'm going to say it one more time to you. Guys, this is not going to be a quick fix for Vic Fangio. I heard Rob and Tone talking, and I heard Rob, I think, paraphrasing here, say that he could turn this thing around quick. I do not believe that. I do not believe that you can fix that thing in 1 year. You know what happens? When you suck, here's the worst thing to happen to the Eagles this year. The Eagles sucked at the end of the year, but they still had a good record. So you're going to have a good schedule that you're going to have to play against quality quarterbacks. You're not really an 11-win team. You're more like a 7-win team. But the schedule that you're going to play is not going to reflect that. That's why you're going to have a down year. Another down year is because you're going to be playing high-quality quarterbacks. You're really not the 11-win team. You're the 1-7 team at the end of the season. Again, folks, I'm not sitting here trying to poo-poo anything here. What I'm telling you is you better have some patience on this. This is a thing where you need patience. If you're going to think that this is just going to be a quick fix. Okay? It's not. This is not going to be a quick fix. I'm going to look at the roster here in a second, and I'm going to tell you where they're going to be in a lot of trouble this offseason if they do not do different things here. Okay? You know, I heard something. And by the way, I'm going on with Bill tomorrow. Colarulo, I'm going on with him. And by the way, Bill, I know you watch the show. I watch yours too. Hey, Bill, for me going on, Big Seals is going to get free attorney consultation for the rest of my my life. That's the price you pay. Big Seals is like a barter guy. You know, I'll do free food stamps, and I'll do like discount cards, whatever it needs. You know, Big Seals is a barter guy. So I look forward to doing that with Bill tomorrow. But I heard Bill say something about Jason Kelce, that Bill wouldn't pay the $10 million to bring Jason Kelce back. This is fundamentally flawed thinking. He said, take the personality and the passion you have for Jason Kelce. See, I don't personally give a shit what the name of the player is. Is he playing well? Is he good? And can the guy still perform? And is he the best at his position? I don't give a shit how old he is when you're playing at that level. Brandon Graham's out. Fletcher Cox is not a $10 million guy. He's out. Fletcher wants to take less money, and I wouldn't if I was Fletcher. I'd go to Cleveland and get $10 million. You have too many holes on that side of the ball. You have to restructure Hassan Reddick's deal. But let's stick with Jason Kelce here. A, is Jason Kelce the best center in the league? Yes. Bill's contention is you're paying $10 million for a center. That's the second most important position in the offensive huddle. You're damn right. If I'm spending $50 million, show me a great quarterback where you don't have a great center. Are you going to move Landon Dickerson over there? Because Cam Jurgens, putting an experimental guy in there, I don't know about that. That's a cliff dive is what we call in the locker room. You put Cam Jurgens in, you go from a 10 to a 4. The tush push goes away. Jason Kelce is the tush push, not Jalen Hurts. Because when Jason Kelce was with Carson Wentz, you want to hear a stat? They were 29-27 on quarterback sneaks. He is the tush push. It's him. Carson Wentz was 29-27 on fourth down plays for 1 yard or less when they needed it. He is the tush push. So instead of playing in a series 3rd and 9, you go back to 3rd and 10. Okay? I mean, I don't care who Jason Kelce is. Okay? 27-29. Thank you. Okay, I didn't know you were a statistician, Bob, but I appreciate it very much for the correction. Jesus criminy. We got English teachers and mathematic majors in here. Excuse me, dude. You know, I'm kind of sitting at a bar. Hello? Welcome to the Big Sills bar. Relax, Bob. I know you're kidding. We're good. Okay. I mean, oh, he said 29-27. What a stickler. Huh? What a stickler. You didn't, because there's a guy in the market that I have to be careful on my paraphrasing, my quoting, or somebody gets their panties in a bind and they run to my boss. Hey, did you see what Sileo quoted? Kind of paraphrasing? Shut up. Shut up. Okay? Here's why you don't get rid of Kelce. Here's why you don't. Here's the case for it. He's the best player at that position in the league. It's the most important offensive position in the offensive line next to left tackle. You have the third best left tackle in the game, and you have the best center in the game. If you take that center out, so you're going to put a brand new coordinator in there, you're going to take out and put an inexperienced center in, and you're going to think your offense is going to turn around without having a guy making line calls, and you're going to put Cam Jurgens in there to make offensive line calls where he's never made line calls in an NFL football game at center with your $50 million quarterback. Not me. Look at the center in Kansas City. He's a Pro Bowler. He's a Pro Bowler. You have to have. You show me a good team with a shitty center. That'll be the first team I've ever seen. Okay? If you want to get that offense going in the right direction, you should drop to a knee and get on your knee and beg him to come back. I don't give a shit if he's 54 years old. If you're still the all-pro, guys, do you know what all-pro means? Hey, and by the way, I heard Bill say, well, Father Time will catch him. It might. 75% of Jason Kelce is better than 95% of any center in the league. That's a hard position to find. I would make the contention to you that finding a center is the second most difficult thing finding a left tackle. They're not out there. They're just not out there. As a matter of fact, you know what you do to a guy like Jason Kelce? You run that horse till that thing becomes lame. But Sills, aren't you worried about his health? No, the league's not. I want him to play as long as he wants. It's his decision to play. No one else's. Since when do we give a shit about players' health? When you start having empathy, when you know the owners don't have empathy, that's where you fall in problems. You make emotional decisions. Caring about somebody's health? Really? Extra Thursday games, overseas games, adding to the schedule of games. Really? Wake me up when they give a shit. Playing surfaces. They'll rip, I said yesterday, they'll rip the playing surface up for those guys that play soccer. But they won't give a shit about the NFL guys, and they'll put down your mom's flooring for the guys to play on. Yeah, they care. Okie dokie. I'm not getting rid of Jason Kelce. He's one of the first things I have to address. I want that guy back. Cam Jurgens, unless you're going to put Landon Dickerson in there, because he was drafted initially to be a center, I might take a look at that, if that's where you want to go. But Cam Jurgens versus Jason Kelce, and I've got to turn Jalen Hurts around. I want the best center in the league. Oh, I have him. And then you turn around, and believe me, you and I, Tone, we always do this because we have to start with money. Bill's right. You got to start with money. Don't ever start with ability. Start with the money. $10 million for Jason Kelce is a drop in the bucket when you get the production. Jason Kelce gives you $20 million of production. He's worth the money. It's not like he's not living up to the dough. Sign a one-year deal with him. Sign a one-year contract with him. Give him a shitload of the money up front, and you front-load it. Make him have a $1 million contract. Give him $9 million. He deserves it. He deserves the money. Hey, if there's one thing, if you had a $10 million contract, I'll tell you this, if Jason Kelce was 4 years younger and he wasn't talking retirement, he'd get $18 million on the open market. His market value would be like $18 to $20 million if he was 2 years younger. Okay, 11 goes like this. Kelce's not going to make the difference. That's such a shitty and stupid comment. When the center position is so hard, it is the most difficult. You're making line calls, blitz stunts, 43-34 shades, snap the ball, get out into perimeter up. How many centers have you ever seen in your life get to the third level? When it comes, how in the world have you ever seen a center get to the third level? All pro. And you want to put some dude, Campbell Soup in? Cam Jurgens? Give me a break. You're going to go from Jason Kelce to Cam Jurgens. Shit, you might as well put Tone at center. I mean, it'll be a cluster F. And you know it. And the $10 million for him, hey, the $10 million for Fletcher Cox ain't worth it. The $10 million for Kelce is completely worth it. How about this? Is Fletcher Cox one of the top 15 D linemen in the NFL? Yeah. At $10 million? Not me. Is Jason Kelce the best center in the league at $10 million? Yeah. That's for me. That's for me. He's the best. And Tone goes, hey, well, Tone goes, I think I'd do all right out there. He would. Cam Jurgens. Okay. Sure. Here. Let's do this, because the money here is where you're going to have to go to try to retool your defense. And I wrote these cliff notes down as we're in this part of the offseason now, because we got free agency coming up and Howie has to look at this with his new coordinators. Let's start with the offense. Hurts, obviously. Just get better, kid. These are my cliff notes. And this is what I would be telling my coordinators and all my assistant coaches. Hurts has got to get better. Okay? And stop people saying, if you take the turnovers away, he had a bad year. You're compromising your integrity when you say that. He had a shitty year because of the turnovers and how the team fell apart at the end. If he had the turnovers that he had and they didn't go 1-7, then you kind of go, okay, he's kind of like Josh Allen. But he didn't. The team fell apart. And he fell apart with it. That's not a good year. Most people don't realize how important the O-line is, and the center is the most important in the O-line. Second biggest position behind the. I happen to think that too, Dirty D. I hear people making this comment. If you take the turnovers away, Jalen, you're compromising your integrity when you say that. He did not have a good year. You can throw for Kirk Cousins' numbers. You can do that. How many times have you shit on Kirk Cousins? So he had a Kirk Cousins year. Okay. Congratulations. Jalen Hurts had a Kirk Cousins year. Last year, you guys took a crap all over him. Okay. Dude, tell the whole story, not half of it or 10% of it or 90% of the story. That's the difference between us and everyone else. We tell the entire story. Okay? It was a down year, too many turnovers, and not enough leadership, and you fell apart with your team at the end of the year, Jalen Hurts. Case closed. Nothing else. Let's move on. DeAndre Swift. Well, unless Howie and Jeffrey Lurie make a decision to change their mentality on signing people, he's not back. This is why I say yesterday, Derrick Henry's at $4.3 million market value. I put Henry in there. And if you want to bring that clown Kenny Gainwell back, I don't know why you would, but they seemingly love him. Oh, I know why, because it's got to be a Howie guy. Him and Henry? Well, Henry's ran for 2,500 yards the last 2 years with 25 touchdowns. Shut your holes. Okay? And if you had any balls with yourself, Howie, you'd spend the $11 million on Swift and Henry, and you would have a formidable run game again. But see, get this, guys. Do you think the Philadelphia Eagles won? They didn't bring Kellen Moore in to be a run team. They brought Kellen Moore in to be more of a pass-happy team, which means to me to be more finesse. So the idea of bringing Derrick Henry in is out. They're not going to run the ball more. They want to throw the ball more. Can I tell you, I think I'm going to make a comment after we go all through this, but so you think Kellen Moore is going to help Jalen Hurts? Really? By running the ball less? Do you really believe that? They'll work on his footwork. Okay. How about this? You think Jalen Hurts can win a Super Bowl from the pocket and not dual threat that he is or was? You're changing the guy in front of him and in front of you on what you paid for. You paid for the 22 Jalen Hurts. Now you're trying to get further away from it. You hired a guy who believes in throwing the ball more from the pocket. I don't believe he can win a Super Bowl from the pocket. I think he has to beat you like Lamar Jackson does and Josh Allen. I think you have to win a Super Bowl in the pocket, but I think Jalen Hurts has to be Jalen Hurts, not Jalen. Taking half his game away from him. I just don't believe it. Swift could be by the way, Swift and say, with that kid Bush up in Buffalo would be great. But Swift's not a number one back. He's not. He's not a very good pass protector. And he's not very good in the red zone. He's a good player. I don't have a problem with him, but no disrespect. I agree with Jeff Kerr. DeAndre Swift was not an upgrade to Miles Sanders' performance last year. He wasn't. He just was not an upgrade. He caught a couple more passes, not a ton of yards, too, in those passes. And they were not as formidable running the ball and not as dominant. At the end of the year, they completely were dominated when it came to being outrushed. Okay? So at the end, do I mind moving off of DeAndre Swift? No, because I don't think he's not a physical guy. But then again, that's what they're morphing to. They don't want to be physical anymore. Okay? I mean, they're not going to want to run the ball more. If Kellen Moore can scheme wide receivers open to give Jalen easier throws, then it may be possible for Jalen to win from the pocket. Dirty D. What made Jalen's throws better, he was better in 22 as a passer than he was by far last year. And what made that happen? The threat of him running. He was a freaking force in open field. A force. And for me, if I'm a linebacker, I'm going to sit here and go, dude, I can't get deep. Because if I get deep, the kid's going to take off, get that 11-yard first down on me, break my back. We're still on the field. What happens then? Those pass routes are open more because those linebackers have to be situated. They have to be situated. Hey, greatest example was the NFC Championship game that they were in. Fred Warner and Greenlaw were in slow motion. Why? Because he froze them. They were playing from behind the entire game. They got into that game this year in the regular season. They were running like their hair was on fire to the ball, Greenwell and Warner. They got to the ball, and they were contact hitters in that ball game. If I'm ever evaluating the running back, the first question is asking, can he pass block? Correct. If he can't, I don't care how fast or talented he is. That's why that whole Rashad Penny thing never made sense to me. You paid a guy $2.5 million. He's the worst pass protecting running back in pro football. He was that in Seattle. That's why they went out and got Kenny Walker II from Michigan State, was because he can't pass block. He's always hurt. And the Eagles signed him to keep him away from Dallas. He's not good. That guy Carson, or whatever his name was, he was like a 5th or 6th round guy, beat him out every year. Why? Because he was a better pass protector. The Eagles pass protecting guys in the running back position is atrocious. It's just atrocious. Carlos goes, what's up, angry man? I'm in the greatest place of my life. Huh. Then again, I'd be angry too if my team got the shit kicked out of them at the end of the year. And I was 1-7, and I'm watching the San Francisco 49ers in the Super Bowl. I might be pissed too if I were you. But to me, hey, man, I just covered the team. I might be pissed too. You shouldn't be pissed at me, dog. You should be pissed at your team, the way the thing fell apart. Hey, right? Look at Tone's like, hell, I'm pissed. Doesn't it bug you this week? You're sitting on the couch not watching your team. When you were 10-1, how does that not get under your skin? Watching your team just melt like you were like the Wicked Witch of the West and Wizard of Oz. Doesn't it bug you? Boy, it wouldn't me. I guess the $1 million question is, will Kellen Moore adjust the scheme to Jalen's talents? Dirty D. You're going to see more of what you saw last year, just with a more experienced coordinator. That's what you're going to see. Okay? He'll adjust the scheme around Jalen. Adjust what? No. The only thing Kellen Moore is going to do is be a better feel for the game when it comes to play calling, and he's going to have a better route tree with his wideouts. Let me continue here. It gets under my skin so much that I refuse to make up lies. I'm calling it now as I see it. That's right, man. Hey, man, tell the full story. Well, take the turnovers away. Jalen had a good. Screw that. That's not true. You're compromising your takes in your own mentality when you say that. Hey, I read half the book. Half the book was really good. Ending wasn't really the best. Well, shit. Wasn't a good book then. The first 5 pages of the book were great. But the last 25 sucked. Is that how you read a book? Really? I look at the whole body of work. Who are you? Hey, you know what it's like too? It's like people forgetting the Jordan Washington Wizards small little era of his deal. Jordan did play for the Wizards. Shh. Don't say that. No, Jordan played for the Wizards. Did you forget? Yeah, no, we're not supposed to talk about that. Okay? No. Hey, my marriage is great, but she keeps beating my ass. Man, she's great. What a woman. Hey, man, my first year with my wife was fantastic. The past 39 have blown. Quite a marriage you got there, kid. She better have a lot of money, and you know what else. How you doing, right? All right, let's move on here. A.J. Brown. Great player. Owed a ton of money. Listen, we started that whole trade him deal. I'm looking to try to get money for the defense. Jalen is not that guy yet because he can't carry a team. It's not a rip. Brock Purdy can't. Relax. I'm probably hanging in there another year with him. So you know what you're going to do now? In the next or in the last, you count this year coming up, you will have given A.J. Brown $65 million because of your failure at Jalen Reagor. Do you hear me? $65 million. You miss on the player and the money. People don't look at it that way. Organizations do. $65 million. Sills, the production numbers are worth it. Yeah. But you lost the rookie contract with Reagor to help spread your cap money out. Dude, it's more than just missing a draft pick. It's the equity of years on rookie deals. And hitting on those rookie deals. They don't have to be superstars, but you got to hit on it. Like here, you're running out of time with Jordan Davis. You're going into the 3rd year now. He's only given you 8 games. Is that 13th pick validated? No. That 13th pick is not validated. The only reason that you're kind of okay with it is the money. Let's say this to you. Was it an upgrade, Jordan Davis, starting him and letting Hargrave go? Hargrave's in the Super Bowl. But still, we're paying him 20. Okay. You better hit on that kid. You better hit on him. Hey, what's his name goes like this, RTF, we're not trading him. Then you don't, your quarterback's not the guy. He's just not the guy. Kansas City Chiefs are in the Super Bowl 2 years in a row without Hill. They got Hill and Travis Kelce. And a guy they found in the 7th round or 6th round in Pacheco. That's it. And a bunch of other dudes. That's it. Once again, Kansas City goes into a Super Bowl with the inferior roster. How do they win? Coaching, quarterback, balance in the cap. There's so many great storylines with that Super Bowl. Purdy, $870,000. Can you imagine this? If he wins a Super Bowl at $870,000 and your contract kicks in with Jalen Hurts March 13th, and he's making 50, and that guy just made, and they got 2 more years with that guy at that number. The 49ers are going to be even better. 49ers are going to get better next year. Are the Eagles? Devontae Smith. I see Xander behind the scene. Xander, I love him. I'm wrong. First question I keep telling everyone. Xander asked me, hey, dude, what do you make of Devontae Smith being drafted by the Eagles? Wrong team. He's a schwimp. Well, that could be further from the truth. He's tough. He's a professional. He's ready-made. When you bought this guy off the showroom floor, that's it. It's like buying a Ferrari. Pininfarina, all the nice paint jobs in Pininfarina, Ferrari, got the Pirellis on it. This thing is a Ferrari. He is without a doubt a true professional. And in my opinion, if everything goes right and he doesn't have any catastrophic injuries, he'll be the greatest receiver in the history of the Philadelphia Eagles. It's a marvelous, marvelous player. Just marvelous. He's tougher than I thought. He's more durable than I thought. His hands are freaking incredible. His route running and his tree running, they didn't utilize it last year. You had the best route runner in the NFL. And you know what they didn't do with him? They didn't give him quality routes. That's a letdown in itself in coaching. You gave all the premium pass routes to AJ, and you gave him the leftovers. Come on, man. And I have respect for Mike Quick, Slagger, but he's got better hands, runs better routes. Mike's a great player. He's better. Wide receiver number 3, 0 production. I'm not even going to go over the names because they're all nobodies. You know, do you guys play on offense with 10 guys versus 11 guys on defense? You play 10 versus 11 when you play out there. That's what makes it even more incredible. You don't even have like a guy out there that could be a decoy. You know, that's all they use Quez as decoy. Teams figured it out after a while. He's not. He has no hands. If you have a lot of speed and you have no hands, you're not a threat. Okay? Marshmallow Watkins doesn't fight for footballs. He's got brick hands, and the only thing he does is run fast. That's not a quality I want in my offense. I'm playing 10 versus 11. The guy's a cream puff. Seriously, man, you could beat that guy's ass with a pillow. I guarantee you, he could have boxing gloves, and I would kick his ass with a pillow. He's just not tough. So what are you going to do at wide receiver number 3? By the way, I draft a guy here. Hopefully I get a quality dude that has some decent hands. I don't want to spend money on W3. I don't want any money being spent on WR3. I'm going to draft a guy. But then again, Howie blows at drafting wideouts. He's in his 24 years of being in charge of the draft or being involved with the draft. He's drafted 1 wideout. Devontae. That's not an average I'm really happy about. Dallas Goedert, unreliable. When you're this is what they're doing. They're evaluating, like they're like talking about what they need to do to improve. Dallas Goedert's a fine ball player. But you know what I say to this? Hey, Dallas Goedert, you're a really good ball player, but you miss 25 to 26% of your football games every year. I'm not paying you $15 million for that. He's overpaid. Dallas Goedert needs to take a pay cut to stay on my team. He makes more money than Travis Kelce. Do you know that? He makes more money than Travis Kelce. That's not happening. This guy's a $7 million a year guy. He ain't no $15 million. Again, wasted money. Wasted money here. Silsey's good. Yeah, when he's healthy. Yeah, but Silsey broke his arm. I know, broken arm here, hamstring here, knee here, ankle here. It's always something with this guy. This guy's like a China doll. So again, at the end of the day, time to move off of Dallas Goedert here. That's right. He's Mr. IR. This guy's Mr. IR. Left tackle, Malata, third best OT in the league. Fantastic find. Tremendous football player, 6'8". The guy looks like he's 242 pounds and he's 342 pounds. He's insane great. This guy couldn't put a chin strap on. This guy couldn't put a chin strap on 4 years ago. And he's doing what he's doing. I make the argument he's the best player on your team and the best athlete on your team. Who does that? Hey, you know what? I think I'm just going to pick football up and be the third best OT left in the league. Who does that? Who does that? Name me a guy that just goes like this. You know, I think I'll play pro football. I think I'll play pro football and I'll be the third best left tackle in the league. You think there's a better athlete on your football team than him? Absolutely not. 6'8", 340, moves, can run. You could play him at tight. I'll tell you what, you might want to think of playing him at tight end. He could probably do both. You ever see his rugby highlight films? It's insane watching him play. Okay? Landon Dickerson. You know, initially they drafted him as a center. Okay? Drafted him as a center. He's outstanding. Fantastic ball player. Fantastic. Okay? Anthony, it's still, dude, I don't block anybody. I have no controls over anything. None. Okay? And for the record, I don't give a shit what they do behind the scenes to any of you idiots. 90% of you guys are awesome. Some of you guys are just dickheads. And whatever they feel like doing, I don't have a problem with. So for me, it doesn't bother me. I could care less. Box of rocks. Really doesn't bug me. My kid getting good grades and graduating in a couple months. That's what I care about. That's what bugs me if she doesn't. Other than that, whether or not some guy gets up out of his bed and waits for his 37,000 post that he'll put on there and stalks me all day, I don't really care about that. It's all good. End of story. It's funny, man. You guys really think you'll get to me like that? You don't. I don't care. I have no controls over anything. By the way, Tone, I don't even know how I would do that. I could barely get on my laptop. I have no idea about internet stuff. I have no idea how to do it. Nor do I care. But for some of you, I just had to address it as I digress and move on. How many people believe the Eagles should do what Bill Colarulo says? Move on from Jason Kelce. Thank you, Anthony. I appreciate that, my friend. Now, Bill's take's not a bad one. I just disagree with it. It's not a bad one. Okay? He wants to move on from an all-pro center. I want to move on from a $25 million wide receiver that won't help you win a Super Bowl. He thinks I'm crazy for A.J. Brown. Well, like I pointed out to everyone in tone here, did Green Bay get better when they got rid of Devontae Adams? Yes. How about this one? Let's see. Did the Kansas City Chiefs get better without Tyreek Hill in their second Super Bowl in a row? They moved off top flight wideouts. And both teams are trending in the right direction. What's a $25 million wide receiver going to get you when you become predictable? One. Secondly, you're not balancing your cap. I mean, paying a wide receiver $20 million is useless. You think Justin Jefferson's going to win a Super Bowl making $30 million in Minnesota? Never. You think Tyreek Hill's going to win a Super Bowl in Miami, making $25 to $28 million? Never. Do you think Devontae Adams is going to win a Super Bowl in Vegas, making $28 million? Never. Do you think A.J. Brown's going to make and win a Super Bowl making $25 million? Never. So what's the point? What is the point? What's the point? No. Jones, it's not just talk, it's facts. What are you talking about? It's not talk, it's facts. Packers got better without Adams. Did they not? Kansas City got better without Hill. Did they not? I mean, you don't really believe any of these wideouts are going to deliver Super Bowls, do you? And by the way, Deebo Samuel making the money he makes, the only reason that's feasible is because the quarterback makes less than $900,000. Now, if you want to pay a wide receiver $20 million and you're paying your quarterback $1 million or less thereof, $1 million, sure. Okay? Chris goes, 1 minute you call AJ a crybaby. He is a crybaby. But you say AJ can do whatever he wants because he's highly productive. Okay? Now you're saying you want to trade him. No. I said you might want to look into it. Yes. Thanks, Chris, for regurgitating my takes. Yes. AJ's a crybaby. Yes. He's productive. Yes. And you might want to move off him to retool your defense because it's about the roster, not about one man. Yeah. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for bringing up all the takes because that's right. Are you suggesting that A.J. Brown's not a crybaby? Is that a false statement? Is it a false statement he's not productive? I'm not understanding what you're saying. You know, all things can be true, dude. You could be productive and a dick. Ask Aaron Rodgers. Not everything is in a box. Two things can be true. Two things can be true, dude. I'm not getting rid of Kelsey. He's the best player at his position. Cam Jurgens, I like him. I do. I like him. Lane Johnson, A- year. Okay, A- year, still 99.9% better than everything in the league. Okay? Not the best season, but he set such a standard, it's incredible. So quite frankly, you got to figure out how to play 11 on 11. You got to do something with that WR3. You got to do something with your running game. Who would have thunk it? Your question mark's a running game and your wide receiver 3. I think Kellen Moore will fix that wide receiver 3. Do I think he'll address the run game? Nope. You know what I think they're going to do in the run game? They're going to draft a rookie. Maybe a couple rookies. And it's going to be by committee again. Okay? Now we get to the more difficult side. Shit, we got a ton. Look at it. I mean, we're not even into the topics yet. Okay? Wow. Brandon Graham, you're out. Here. Seals, am I willing to die on the hill that Hurts is the guy and that I would rather have a AJ because I don't trust Howie to trade him? No, that's a good take, Q. That's a good one. Sills. Oh, look at what Q's saying here. Sills. I'm going to sit on the hill with AJ with Hurts. My only problem I'm getting rid of. That's a freaking great take. Q. That's a great take. Could be your best. What Q's saying is this, Sills. I'm going to sit on this hill with him. But do you really believe that I think he could duplicate what he did with Devontae Smith and get another guy in there to make sure Hurts' development continues to go forward? I'm not. It's a great take. It's a fantastic take, Hugh. You're right. I hadn't thought of that. That's a fabulous take. Okay? You're right. Hey, Sills, would you rather pay the money, keep the player, or would you rather have Howie have the picks that you want to get and the cap ability to move around? Do you trust both? No, I don't. What do you trust more? You're asking me to be fair? I trust AJ more. Q, you're right. You're thinking with common sense. You're right, dude. You're not just looking at the numbers. Sills, you think that guy's going to take that money and spread it out, draft a linebacker and safeties to really retool that defense and land on them dudes? And you think he's going to draft another wide receiver that's going to be productive on the other side of Devontae Smith and get the same production out of both guys, or at least spread out the production? No, I don't. It's a great comment. You're right. So you're kind of caught in a pickle here. That's why, to me, what do you guys think the biggest job is this coming season for Kellen Moore and that offense? What do you think the biggest job is for him? And you're going to go with the low-hanging fruit. I know it is to help Hurts, right? That's important. But I think it's establishing Devontae Smith more. They don't really establish him. He's kind of like a decoy. They need to get him more involved in the pass game. Well, Silsey's had it. No. He needs quality routes. He needs to have more targets. And if AJ doesn't like that, dude, you get paid every Tuesday $25 million. Whether you have 75 catches or whether you have 105 catches, shut up. Do your job. You can be as impactful on your team making high-quality catches. And it's not all about the numbers. I think you got to establish Smitty more, because you know what you'll do when you establish Smitty? Look at Bob. You cannot establish Smitty when AJ is the alpha. Yeah, you can. You know what you do? Shut up and sit down. Have some autonomy in the room with your being the OC. This is how we're doing this. It ain't about you, son. This is about the team spreading the ball out. That alpha shit, dude, I don't care. Where is that comment? Well, you know, this guy here is the more alpha guy. Dude, you're trying to not become predictable, Bob. 34% of the time the guy was targeted. Do you know what a defensive coordinator does? Think of this. Out of 65 plays, I know 25 of them are going to A.J. Brown. What am I going to do? Well, my strength of my defense is going to be wherever A.J. is. I'm going to shift my strength to him. And if you happen to throw one of those shitty route tree passes to Devontae, don't you understand? You're trying to get the defense back into the middle of the field instead of tilted to one side. God, man. People look at the game way different than I do. The more people that touch the ball, the more dangerous Jalen will be. Not just the offense. We can't smother AJ with targets. The offense becomes one-dimensional, and you stunt the growth of your quarterback, and you're forcing tougher throws, and you're forcing turnovers. That's what happened. Hey, according to Bob, establishing AJ, Hurts had more turnovers. Congratulations, Bob. Your quarterback had the second most turnovers in the league because you were trying to establish AJ. AJ hurt him this year. He didn't help him. How did he help him? How in the world did AJ Brown help Jalen Hurts' growth this year? How did he help him? How did he help him? Well, AJ had really great numbers. Great for him. And you were 1-7. Anthony goes, we didn't get to a Super Bowl until we got AJ. No, you didn't get to a Super Bowl until you had a good coordinator in Shane Steichen. I'm not saying AJ wasn't a major part of that. He was. Okay? He was. By the way, our friend Rohan Marley, who couldn't make it yesterday, is going to join us at 3:30. One Love's coming out. One of the great sportsmen and one of the most interesting lives of all time. February 14th, the movie One Love's coming out. We're going to talk with our friend Rohan Marley. That'll be at 3:30. Our friend Tone will talk with us at 4:30. We got a ton of stuff to hit on. Please hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
Go for the pulls and the pools. Go for the oohs and the ahs. Go for the bubbles and the bubbly. Go for the story and the stories. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Underdog Fantasy has a way for you to play alongside your favorite football team all season long with their Fantasy Pick'em game. You pick between 2 to 5 players, select whether they'll go higher or lower on one of their stats, then do what you usually do on a Sunday, watch the games. You can win up to 20 times your money in a single game by going 5 for 5. It's a fantasy game, and the Sports Betting Show wants you to get involved. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com. When you sign up, use the promo code WIN, and Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. That's UnderdogFantasy.com. Use the promo code WIN.
Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Sales National Football Show. Today's National Letter of Intent Day. I know in Philly that's not a big deal because you have Temple. I'm sorry I had to do it to you guys. Hey, I'm sorry, Tone, Rob, and all you guys, Angelo, and I'm sorry. I know it's not a big deal to you guys. National Letter of Intent Day, okay? But it is a big deal. And today, kids get a chance. I know there's early signing periods now, but back in the day, you had to pick a school on where you wanted to go, and you had an opportunity to sit and choose. You didn't do the hats back then like you do now, which I think it's kind of cool. You're breaking my heart, Sills. You're breaking my heart. Holy cow, the guy's dropping Godfather stuff on me. Hey, Fredo, you're breaking my heart. You're breaking my heart. Sills, paying a guy $25 million to be the number 2 option makes no sense. I'm not saying paying Devontae Smith $25 million. I'm not saying that. That's not that. No, that's not anything remotely close, Bob. Dude, then tell me why. Okay, Bob, they spend no money at wide receiver in Kansas City, and they really don't spend any money in Green Bay. Okay, they're not paying $25 million to anybody. Shit, they're not even paying top money for their running back in Kansas City. How come it works there? Oh, Mahomes. So your guy needs everything. Go here with this then. I hate to do this to you. Boy, Tone's going to get it twice here. Okay? I hate to do this. Yeah, why are we getting caught up in this number 1, number 2? Absolutely, it's not. It's about spreading the ball out. Right there, when you start talking about number 1, number 2, that's the problem you have in Philly. Designated targets. What does designated targets mean? You know what it means? Predictability. Oh, so he gets the most? Okay. We'll slide the defense to him. What you're trying to do is keep people on their heels, not on their toes. You got, when a team plays the Eagles, they're on their toes because they know where the ball's going. How many players and how many football teams were goofing on you at the end of the year with your predictability? Because you knew you were going to AJ. AJ got his numbers, and you fell apart. How do you feel about that? Let me ask you this. This is an even better question. You think AJ Brown earned his $25 million this year? Let's see how people answer this. Mind you, it's a team sport. You think AJ Brown earned his money? Guy had big numbers. Steve says yes. Okay, Steve, what did he impact outside of himself? Quarterback? No, quarterback was worse. The more you went to him, the worse he got. How's that helpful? Think of that. When everybody, and don't forget, we'll be on with Bill tomorrow because we'll bring this up. The more targets AJ got, the worse Hurts got. Is that not true? Or am I making that up? Or wait a minute. The worse the offense got. Is that not true? Well, he had his numbers. The only person that benefited from A.J. Brown's season last year was A.J. Brown. The team didn't benefit. Hurts didn't benefit. The offense didn't benefit. Brian Johnson didn't benefit. You can't look at it any other way. Well, for 10 weeks, they did. Stop doing that. It's a 17-game season. It's not an 11-week season. It's 17. Why are you guys not only caught up in one target and number 2 wide receiver, but you're caught up in Brown's numbers? A.J. Brown had a Kirk Cousins season. Because you know why? It resulted in nothing. and failure at the end of the year team-wise. How is that beneficial to the Eagles? Explain that to me. Explain that. A.J. Brown was the most targeted wideout. By the way, KJ goes, targets to Lamb. Well, that's why they went home too. You know the reason that the Packers beat the shit out of the Cowboys in Dallas? Cowboys didn't know who to cover. Packers knew who to cover with the Cowboys because the other guys were kind of dudes. Tony, am I the only guy that sees that? Twist goes $41 million, 40 million reasons why I ain't going anywhere. He ain't helping you. He is not helping you. How many people believe he helped Jalen Hurts this year? Did he help Jalen Hurts progress into being a better quarterback? Or did AJ get his numbers? And kind of that's it. You know, the only thing that was really a winner this year offensively was AJ Brown and Swift. And get this, there's Devontae getting the scraps that he gets, and he still made the scraps into something. I kind of feel for that guy. He gets scrap pass routes. He gets the scraps of everything and still makes shit work and never complains. Both the Packers and Texans offenses were so dangerous because every offensive player was a threat to burn your ass. You couldn't game plan around one guy. For Philly, you can. You know what makes 49ers so dangerous? There's 4 guys. And they are affordable to the Niners because the quarterback is making nothing. You can pay Ayuk. You could pay Debo. You could give McCaffrey $16 million. You could pay all them guys, Debo. You're not paying gigantic money for the quarterback. You're just not. Let me get back to that side of the ball because I didn't finish up on the defense. So we did the offense last hour. Brandon Graham's out. And as I was saying, great career. Thank you for all the things you've done. Fantastic career. I want to thank you guys for everything you did. You and your family are great. You're welcome back here anytime. You don't have to buy a sandwich at all at Gino's. Anytime you want, you're going to get a great send-off by our team. We love you very much. See you later. I need the roster spot and a dough. Goodbye. Okay? If AJ wasn't there, we wouldn't have won 11 games. Go back and watch the games. Devontae was – okay, Dirty D. So if he's not there, you don't win 11 games. He was there when you lost 6 or 7. What happened? Sills, I want to thank you for something. I hate 80% of your opinions, but I am working on accepting the options of others, even if I disagree. That's phenomenal, Carlos. That's all I'm asking for. That's all I want, Carlos. That's a great fan. Carlos, you can hate 95% of what I say. But if we have a decent debate, like we used to in this country, okay, without anybody getting their panties in a bind, you're welcome here any day, dog. I like spirited debate. Okay? Look at your panties in a bind. It's sports talk. Relax. Calm yourself down. You don't have to get angry at everybody. And just try to listen just a tad. Okay? Jordan Davis, I need more from you, son. You're not giving it to me. You got 1 year left because you're running out of time. And here's what I mean by running out of time. Your rookie deal's almost up. I have no interest in re-signing you. I am not re-signing you. No interest. Because the money your agent's going to want and the money you think you're going to want, that ain't happening. As of right now, Jordan Davis is not getting a second deal. He's just not. I'm not re-signing him. However, Howie will, because he spent the 13th pick on him. I know many of you can't be honest. How many people would give Jordan Davis a second contract on what he's performed so far? I don't see it. As a defensive tackle, I don't see it. And if you do, you're blind. Okay? That's right, Callie Green. Two-year deal is running out of time because his rookie contract is coming up. And he's got two more. He's got this year to prove to me, because going into his final season of his contract, in his rookie contract, he's got 34 games left to prove to me he can get a second deal. So far, he's only given us 8 games in 34 games. You would give him another contract based off of 8 games. And the fact that you had people like Brian Baldinger saying he shouldn't have been putting a uniform on, let alone in the starting lineup. That shows you how dumb Steve is. Brian Baldinger came out publicly and said, why is Jordan Davis playing? This was in week 11. Why is he playing? He's giving you no effort. He's laying on the ground. He's laying on players. He completely fell out of gas. And you'd give him another contract? That guy's lazy. As of right now, very disappointed pick. Very disappointed. Jalen Carter, I think he had a great rookie year. Ran into a wall by week 13. That's the college football season. He's used to playing the college football season. That's a thing. It's totally a thing. So for me, I expect him to be even better than what he was. I have great hopes for him. Do I still believe he can be Jerome Brown? Yeah. Do I still believe that he could be one of the best tackles in Eagle history defensively? Absolutely. I'm not down on him because he ran into a rookie wall. For 100+ years in this league, rookies run into rookie walls. He's not excluded from that. It's okay to say that. Okay? As a matter of fact, is he worth the 9th pick? Shit, man. You got to steal at 9. That guy's like the 2nd pick in the draft if you had to redraft it. He's a great football player, man. No problem with him. Now, I'm not doing Milton Williams. Okay, I'll go back and look at that. Right defensive end, Sweat. Better shape. He's got to get better shape because we're going to lean on you more. You're our most productive lineman, and our most productive down lineman. You're our most complete lineman. We need more from you. You need to be in better shape, in better condition. This season coming up for you has to be a great year. You're coming into a contract year as well. If I was having a come to Jesus conversation with him and I was Clint Hurt, I told Clint Hurt this the other day. This is what I would tell Josh Sweat. Son, 31 other teams know you're a talented kid. The only reason you went in the latter rounds coming out of Florida State is because of that high school catastrophic injury you had. Okay? You're a top 10 pick. Now, last year, I told Clint this because, hey, Tone, I give this to you. After we found out the amount of tonnage that he was taking when it came to his reps, Clint texted me back the other night and goes, holy shit, this guy played a ton more reps than he's ever played in his life. I go, ran out of gas, man. They had no depth at the position. Now, Clint Hurt, of course, is a Hurricane, and I know him very well. I was honored the fact that he would wear my number and told people that, why he wanted to wear it when he was at Miami. So I've known him since he was 17 years old. And he's your defensive line coach. one of the quality coaches you've hired. And I'm very, very excited about, it's funny, both your D-line coaches the last 4 years I've known very well, and now I'm very close with them. And I have high regard for Tracy, and I have high regard for Clint. And I just said this about Sweat. I think Sweat's a good football player. He's your most complete guy. He can play in a 34-43. You can wide 9 him, wide 7 him. You can do a lot of things with him. Fantastic. All right. I have been looking forward to this. I got to tell you something. Before I bring in Rohan Marley here, you know what? He's kind of like the guy, if he sees Kane's kind of doing something a little bit kind of nutty, he'll go back in the DM and go, "Hey, we're not having that. We're not having that. We're not, take that down." When Rohan says something to Big Sills, I'm like this. All right, he's somebody I respect and somebody that I love. He's one of my Kane's brothers. February 14th, One Love comes out. And the Marley family is not just, I'll tell you what, that brand, folks, what they have done, the kids have done with the brand, they have left them millions of dollars in the brand and what people think with Bob Marley. It's on everything: hats, shirts, coffee, everything. Most of the kids are independent and so well business people. Let's bring in the former Kane and my friend Rohan Marley. Rohan.
What's up, my G? What up, my G?
You had to school Sills a little bit a couple months ago. You were like, "We're not having that."
Well, you know how it is, man. We gotta be positive with the guys because during the middle of the season, we gotta encourage. No matter win, lose, or draw, it's still a long life. And we didn't feel so good when we got taken down by Washington. That was a big letdown for us. So we know what it's like to let down our fans. But still, as a player, we got to go fight next week.
Absolutely.
We got to think about the player too, and like what the player's going through after a game like that. The coaching. Then to get bashed is like it's rough for them to like recover. It's like emotionally, you know what I'm saying? Because you're trying to teach these boys to come out of that slum, but you can't even get a day to recover. Because when we played, we didn't have the social media. We weren't like so. People weren't so intrusive into our lives. We read in the newspaper. That's it. But nowadays, everywhere you turn, this one's talking about you. Like 5,000 people talking about one guy does, and everybody sees it. You know what I mean? So we as Canes, we got to like remember that.
How about this, Rohan? I tell people this: if me and you and Jerome and Sap and all them guys had nil, I'd have a pizzeria on every stand in South Florida called the Big Sills Pizzeria. And if we had social media, we were so ahead of our time back then.
We had social media now. You know where I'd be living? I'd be probably living in the middle of the ocean. I had my own island if I had a social media back then. You did. If they had free, what's that thing called they're doing now?
The nil.
The nil. Man, I wish I had one of those. But they used to utilize me like as if I was somebody really special. I remember I'm like, wow, Rohan Marley, University of Miami, Bob Marley's son, Jetman. I'm like, wait, I ain't even playing yet. I ain't getting all this publicity.
Hey, Rohan, what was that like playing with that name at Miami? Rock's been on the program a couple times now.
Right.
And I love Dwayne. He's really great. I asked him about his famous dad, but your dad is an iconic figure in the world. What was it like for you? Was it a heavy burden playing with that name Marley when you were at Miami?
You know where the heaviness comes? The heaviness don't come from playing with the name Marley. The heaviness comes from your family upholding that lion order level of manhood. Like being a Marley is about being a lion. You can't be like just being out there all soft and shit. Because my brothers, pardon my French, I used to remember playing the game and I just couldn't like I could never let my brothers see me on my back. Like, I can't let my brothers see me defeated. You know what I mean? So it's like I gotta be a certain way. I can't like on some punk stuff, you know. Like,
Hey, Rohan, I saw a documentary with your dad. And is it true that the family would play soccer and you guys, it was so competitive that you guys were all playing soccer and your dad would have these soccer matches and these sporting events. And it was so competitive that everybody wanted to win. I wonder how much of an impact that had on you.
all right. It come from my dad, that winning thing. My brothers, right? They have a soccer team. When they were playing, they're musicians, they still are. Back when I was young and we would travel together, I was trying to join them on the road. They had a traveling soccer team. It's called Black My Story. They have never lost a game. My brothers Ziggy and Steve, like, I remember being in London and these guys, you know, they said, oh yeah, Molly brothers, we're going to pay you back for what your dad did to us so many years ago when our dad beat their team, you know? So we're going to play that same genre of team. I remember they were up 4-0 at halftime. My brothers, you know, remember, I'm the strong one. I'm just done with UM. My brother Ziggy. All right, because we're playing with band members. We don't really have and they got their team. My brother Steven, he takes off his shirt. He ties his head. I'm holding down the back. Bro, you hold down the middle. Ziggy, you're up front. I'm telling you, all I did was maintain the game in the middle because, you know, I'm fit. I'm strong. I can do that. Steven, nobody gets past him. He's the original, like, defender. Like, nobody gets past Steven. You know what I'm saying? And Ziggy is the original sniper. He's fucking killer. Like, he would take on 10 guys. So I learned my toughness from my brothers and my Uncle Richie. Them people, like, my family. Let me check this out. Sorry. Let me tell. Yeah, my brothers, they're the original Lions. Like, that's where it started from. Just upholding that legacy from the Marley side, being like, just, you know, when we play football in Trenchtown, Jamaica, soccer, there's no like referee. There's no, these boys, they play like, you gotta be able to move your feet up because they're slapping you. Bam! They don't, yo, there's no like foul. There's no foul in that. There's like, you know, when you play 21 and there's no fouls. Like, that's how we play football in Jamaica, scrimmage. There's no fouls. You can't call foul. You might get a handball because that's just not the game. But you can't call no foul. A hard tackle, that man. Play a big man game, them say. That's a hard tackle. Play. Ankles be jammed up, your shins busted up. That's Jamaica. So that whole thing, that whole legacy came from that type of attitude from the Trenchtown games and them type of thing, you know?
Let me ask you this here.
Let me get
Rohan,
you. Oh, no, you ain't the only one, Dan. Don't feel like you was all UM like that. You ain't the only one, Dan. Stop.
Hey, Rohan, let me tell you something, man. Yeah. I think because of your name,
let me put this
and I've told people this at UM, and I told Mario Cristobal this the other day. This kid, Rohan Marley, belongs in the Miami Sports Hall of Fame.
Well, shit, I'm the first outside linebacker to lead the team in Tigers. What they waiting on?
That's what I say.
Ain't no other. What I mean, what I need to do?
Next year, I'm voting.
NFL. Is that the thing?
I'm a voter.
These guys like to talk about NFL players. That stuff wasn't. We talking about college.
That's right, Rohan. I'm a voter next year.
Yes,
and
sir.
You're on my list.
Put that vote in.
No, you're on my list. And by the way, yeah, I said that to Mario. I said, dude, this guy was a ball player there, and he was an impact guy. I mean, national championships. He played with some of the greatest players of all time there.
And led the team in tackles. When I played as a redshirt freshman, Jesse Armstead, Michael Barrow, Darren Smith, there's only one person in front of me. and was a safety. And then me, the fifth leading tackler, as a freshman. That was Terrace Harris, the fourth leading tackler, then myself. As a sophomore, I led the team in tackles. I even play all the games. You know what I'm saying? I didn't play against Georgia Southern and FAMU and them people.
Hey, wait, Rohan, I gotta show you this.
I did play against Georgia Southern. FAMU.
Rohan, I gotta show you this because I'm gonna let everyone see.
I needed them stats though.
Here.
Yes, sir. Yeah, you know what? Can I tell you something about my rings? Yes, sir, Dan. I see you. You know what happened with my rings?
Tell me.
I lost one of them because in my whole movement, it got lost. This brethren that I went to school with, his name is Darren Kaplan. He was the first guy to like take me to Turnberry. He picked me up one day in the circle by the Union in his dad's Rolls Royce. The first guy put me in a Porsche 911. I was like, whoa, big money guy, you know, big time guy, big family in the advertisement business. But one of my really, really close friends. He's a movie producer now. I lost my ring. You know what he said to me? Ro, how about this? I'm going to order your ring for you. Are we going to reorder your ring? And I'm going to keep it in my safe. And whenever you need it, you call me and I'm going to give it to you and you send it back to me. I said, all right, Darren, deal. So that's the only time, whenever I need that ring, I call him. I said, Darren, can you send my ring?
Hey,
for whatever I'm doing, and I send it back.
That's fantastic. Rohan, what did yesterday mean to you and your family, the celebration? Is it a celebration? Do you guys get together? Do you congregate together? Do you do anything when your dad's birthday was yesterday? Do you do anything as a family to celebrate the day?
Obviously we do, but as a unit, and then there's so many things happening around the world, right? For instance, yesterday is a big day in my family. Always we celebrate. We have a live streaming concert out from my dad's house in Jamaica, the Bob Marley Museum, 56 Hope Road in Kingston. So that's always a great thing. It's absolutely reggae month in Jamaica as well as it is Black History Month all over the world. But it's reggae month in general. So we do a lot of things. We activate a lot of movements during this time. But as far as the day goes, family-wise, you know, it's kind of a sad and a happy moment, actually, you know. So we kind of it's been so many years now since 36. My dad passed away at 36. He's now 79. So it's been a lot of years where, you know, so now we kind of we take it for a day for ourselves where we kind of reminisce and do things independently in works with our father, with our father's life. Right now we have the One Love movie coming out. So yesterday I missed your show because I committed to doing Drink Champs.
I figured that. I told everyone, I said, dude, yesterday was such a big day, and on February 14th, One Love's coming out, and I'm sure you're doing a lot of stuff for that movie now.
Yes, but me without like I do everything myself, so I kind of
no planner, right? You just oh shit.
I'm like, oh, damn shit. I doubled up. So like I mean that's why, you know, like come on, like, it's just a day, you know. So yeah, I did that yesterday. I was doing that, and then the Marley movie's coming out. We're doing a premiere here tomorrow in Miami, and I was, you know, my son's been handling that. It's like we didn't have anyone confirm a couple days ago. Now we have 500 people confirmed. It's sold out. Nothing. Like everything is rammed up, and my friends are just not getting back to me. Like, dude, I hit you guys first. Now my son's like, Dad, we don't have any more seats. That can you still tell your friends stop writing to us? I'm like, dude, come on, bro. It's just,
Hey, Rohan.
Yeah.
Have you seen? I mean, I'm sure you've seen it now. Has it? Is the family and you? Are you happy with the way that the movie's going to portray Bob
Well,
Marley?
remember, you know, this is like a project like orchestrated, built, delivered by Ziggy and my family. So we're like, you know, we are very much on the set. Very much it's like a movie done by the family. Like this is like our movie. This is us. This is like That's why you see us everywhere. That's why you see my brother Ziggy, because he's a screenwriter, director, producer, casting, vocabulary efforts, just like everything. Like it's one of those things where when we see Kingsley, we hug him, like, and we see Lashana, we hug them and all the actors, like a lot of the actors that were cast are members of the people that actually lived the life. My dad's family members, the band members' son are playing their dad because they look just like their dad. And only we couldn't play our dad because you need to be a real actor for that, me. But these guys were great first time actors, a lot of Jamaican actors, my brother made sure to hire like 2,000 people in Jamaica during this film, like, so we huge for the country in regards to what we did for the country. And what
you made it in a community movie, right? You wanted the community to be part of it.
Absolutely. This was like, it's the places we grew up. We went back there. It's like, it's real. Everything is done the way my father would do it. It's a beautiful love story and a beautiful musical journey. And what the attempt that happened to this man's life, my father, who is a human being, but in our eyes, growing up as children, we saw him as Superman. So obviously, when you told me my dad was sick, I was like, sick? Like, what? You mean sick? When you hear that your father have cancer, you're like, what does that mean? Like, not our dad. Dad's a Superman. Nothing can happen to him. He's the greatest human being I ever met in my life. So how is this happening? You know what I mean? Because when my dad was ill, I never even knew he was ill until the day he left this earth. I never had I had no idea about his injury with his foot. So over time in life, you get to learn these things about, oh my God, really? Because I was young. I'm 9 years old when he passed away. So this movie kind of like bring you back to that age. And man, I cried so many.
Did it hurt? Was it hurtful for you to go back in time like that? Because I would think something that emotional, Rohan.
Yeah, it's an emotional roller coaster for not just, but you not for me, but I heard from my dad. I cry for my dad because of what he went through in that time as a human being, like, because all of us, like, it's like Warren Sapp trying to become a Hall of Fame football player. And then they bastardize him about smoking herb or whatever they tried to say to bring him down. Like when he was on the pinnacle of his game, he's doing so much, came from Plymouth, it's the same Ray Lewis. It's the same story of how they try to bash you when you're only doing what you love and trying to bring people together. Now, of course, my dad is doing something way different, but emotionally as human beings, so I relate to that stuff because I hear my friend's story. I mean, I see my friends go through these things. So when growing up as a man now, understanding like what those emotions are, I get the goosebumps talking about it. That's why I cry in the theater because of what the assassination attempt. You can't believe they tried to assassinate your dad, his own friends, the people that he put food on their table because they're being manipulated by a system, not having the education to be like, yo, think for yourself, be yourself. You think that's right. That's what my dad speaks about in regards to every man has a voice inside to know right and wrong. He's speaking on these things, but he doesn't like to. My dad's not the type person to reflect on who did what, when you did. My dad, nah, it happened. You know what? And the guy, like, you show up and see my dad shake your hand, man, listen, you fix your fucking problem because you got a problem. If you want to hurt another human being, not even me, that's a problem you have. You need to fix that. So that's my dad. My dad's not going to be like, oh, man, you tried to hurt me. No, my dad's done with that. He's healthy now. He's good. Yo, man.
You know who your dad is? You know who your dad is to me? Your dad is a musical Malcolm X. And the fact that he is a community man, he believed in his Jamaican heritage, his people. He wanted that nothing but the best. And the most important thing that I take from the documentary and our friendship is that his accessibility, Rohan. The one thing about the Marleys, you guys are accessible. I mean, most families are not accessible.
That's our dad, man. We learned that from him, man.
Powerful. Your sisters, just listening to all of you, the impact that your dad had, it's in your character.
Man, we learned that from my dad because that's what we grew up seeing. We saw with our own eyes, like every day, the amount of people. So remember this. Only people that ever gave my dad anything, right, are, you know, some people from Africa. Obviously the African heritage and the people from this that had things. But in Jamaica, nobody give my dad. Only one set of people would ever give my dad anything, and are the people from like 9 miles. They bring in the yellow yam and they bring in farm food, what he eats. But everyone else is there because what my dad can do for them. You dig? So was nobody bringing nothing to my father. You dig? Like, ain't nobody thinking about his health. Ain't nobody. No, nobody.
Did you have any animosity, Rohan, towards the Jamaican government?
Yeah.
When they were taking from you guys all the money he was doing, because basically it was a socialist mentality that they had with your family. That must have been tough and rough on you guys growing up.
I had a lot of animosity growing up after my dad passed away because I saw all the friends try to take over his things. They came there with they tried to run a coup on our family business and my dad's legacy and everything. Mama Rita had to really become a man that day, because when they came over and said, "Oh, Mr. Tough Gang belong to us. This is us. We build this." Mama Rita had to come with a pickaxe stick and tell you, "When you come in here," she had to become physical. And that's really how we had to defend our father's rights and legacy, because there was a time when my dad didn't leave a will. The trust wanted to sell all his rights. We, the children, had to rustle up the money. We borrowed the money from Chris Blackwell. He loaned us the money, and we had to buy our rights back, and then in turn pay him back that money. You know what I mean? So that's how we end up owning our dad's rights. It's not some free for all shit.
So you had to pay for your name.
We had to pay for our name because he didn't leave a will. We had to pay for it.
That's so fucked up.
And that's why we have to protect it the way we protect it today, because we built it. You dig? We the children from 1981 until now. It's been Mama Rita, Sister Sidella, Ziggy, Stephen, Robert, Rohan, Karen, Stephanie, Sharon, Damien, Julian, all of us, Kimani, Robert, all 11 children had to be stewards of this. And that's why I played the way I play, because I couldn't let my family name down. You dig? But on the other, like, my family's watching. Like, hey, what up? It's like, you can't, like, I can't wear my jersey. Like, I used to go to Rolex. I'm not gonna lie.
Wait, okay. So wait a minute. Rohan's gonna wear flip-flops, but he gonna drop a rollie on you too, right?
Well, we work for that stuff, man. You know, it's rewards. You know what I mean? People gift you these things. No, but Rolex, the strip club I'm talking about. Not Rolex. Rolex, the Miami strip club. When we used to go to UM, we pull up at the Licks, man. Stop tripping. Don't act like you don't know. Well, anyway,
hey, I went to the Big Pony up and
yeah, I couldn't wear my Bob Marley shirt in the Rolex. I had to be like, yo, listen, this is the hurricane stuff. I can't go in there with the Marley name like that. You dig? That's Rohan. That's Rohan, the Miami Hurricane.
I love that. Rohan, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you, man, what about the game on Sunday? Who are you pulling for?
What do you mean what I'm pulling for?
Niners?
Hold on. First of all, let's do this. Where am I from?
Jamaica.
Where do I live?
Miami.
What division is Miami in?
The AFC.
Who's playing on Sunday?
The Chiefs.
What division they in?
The AFC.
What division should I be in?
The AFC.
Why are you asking me questions?
It's the stupidest question I've ever asked.
You can't beat the god of football. You can't. Let me see. Who we got a hurricane over there? Bush.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I stay in touch with him from last year till now. But you got the most amazing football player to ever step on the football field as an orchestrator, as a winner, as a champion. He is the person, like, you know, like how Jerry Rice went to Mississippi Valley, but he could have been a hurricane.
Yeah.
Same with Patrick Mahomes.
Freddie went to Texas Tech.
Yeah, well, you know, I don't know. I mean, that's just.
Oh, he could have went anywhere.
He could have went anywhere. I don't like Texas Tech. Come on. Whatever.
Hey, in our day, just so what he's saying here, so you guys don't know, that those teams were roadkill for us.
Right. Stat game, man.
That's a stat game, right?
That's how we say it. Stat game.
Yeah, it's a stat game.
But this guy, like, so I always, I worry about this for him still, right? I said, I hope he stays like whatever he does to like maintain this ability that he has. I hope over time he stays with it because, like a shortstop, right? You know how a shortstop can get that ball to first base from his behind, or a second baseman, he can get it from his behind, from his underarm, from an overarm, running left, running right. That's Mahomes, man. This man throw a perfect ball. Like he knows how to, like a shortstop, he knows how to balance his body to get that. Oh my God, I've never seen a player like this. The closest thing I've seen to him, obviously, it's many dimension of it. All right. Cunningham. Randall. Steve Young.
Yes.
Michael Vick.
Kaepernick.
Wait, hold on. Let me get to it. What are you talking about, Kaepernick?
Okay, I'll take that one back. Okay, all right.
Remember what we did to Kaepernick in the Super Bowl? Remember, I'm an AFC guy.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I got it now. We only hang on that side of the aisle now. I got it. Okay.
Listen, if Ray Lewis ain't playing for a team, if Warren Sapp ain't playing for a team, I ain't got no connection to nobody. What I do have is players that I love. And most of the players I love play in the AFC, sir.
That's right.
So I'm going with the Chiefs, sir. The god of football, the greatest player I've ever seen throw up football. Look. The smartest person I've ever seen throw a football is Tom Brady.
Yes.
Well, come on. Let me go back. I mean, I'm a Dan Marino guy. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm from the Dan Marino school where I used to go outside trying to do a quick release. You know what I'm saying? I used to be that guy. So I'm a living fan of Dan Marino. So I grew up in this quarterback era trying to understand what are magnificent quarterback. And I've seen the evolution of quarterbacks because the evolution of the players, speed, strength, tenacity, the game has changed. It's not so bang, bang anymore. It's more about accuracy. It's more about get someone to the ground. It ain't more about killing them off like one time.
Absolutely.
I play the game. So Patrick is who I'm going with, sir.
I'll tell you, Rohan, for you and for a guy like him, the thing that I love the most about Mahomes is his humility. I think he's kept it down. For a guy like you that has so much fame in his family and what you did as an athlete, how hard is it to manage that as a person when your ego? Because when they see you, Rohan,
how
people
free am I
don't
on
have
this
to
program?
know your
I gotta
name.
ask, Dan, how free am I on this program? How free can I speak?
How free as you want.
All right, guess what? I have a lot of trauma, right? Growing up that I didn't know I had. You dig? So the trauma became ego, right? They started, oh, he's so cocky. Oh, he's so this, he's so that. But you can develop an ego, not an ego where you don't have humility, but an ego just in your own mind,
Yeah.
And how to figure out life and who you are and what are you and where you come from and how are you today as a human being, because none of that stuff matters. What matters is how you are today as a person, And I remember I tried mushrooms, man. And when I tried psilocybin, man, I told you I was going to be free.
No, listen, I battled depression.
I tell you this, I tried psilocybin, and I must say to you, that allowed me to understand that only thing that matters is our present moment of how we're feeling in this moment. Because there's nothing I can do about the past, good, bad, or indifferent. The past, I can't touch it. It's unfathomable. There's nothing I can do. I mean, it's just memory. So if I want to be sad, if I want to be happy, I can think of some things that happened 1,000 years ago and go back to those emotions, just like we talked about the movie. So I learned to accept the emotion that I have in the moment. I'm happy right now. I'm so happy. I'm happy because I just had some coffee. I ate something. I have everything I want in the moment. I had it. So I'm learned to get rid of trauma. And that goes back to humility. It's being in the moment and understanding, like you talk about Patrick Mahomes and his humility. It's being in the moment and understanding your purpose. And I heard him say one very, very important thing, right? And it was the game before he played, the game he lost against Buffalo, and before he played against them the second time. He, at the end of the game, he told the other quarterback, my guy, I play with him on Madden. He's my guy. I like him. He told him, hey, that was a bullshit call.
Right on. Rohan, I just absolutely love you, man. I'll tell you this, just for me too. You know, you and I came from a program that when you were in those locker rooms, the person that I am 35 years later from where I was with Jerome Brown and all those guys and how crazy we were. Jimmy and those guys were talking about it the other day with Michael Irvin. I played, and he's like this, Sills, from the guy you are then to the guy you are now. I said it's been a journey, man, because that guy was an asshole. And that guy was mean. That guy thought he was better than everyone.
Yeah.
It's taken me a long time, Rohan, to kind of take that jacket off and get to where I am today, because when you're in that environment like that and you're that guy and you're young and you have that kind of spirit and you're around so many great spirited people and around hungry people, guys who were like from Overtown, Liberty City, and you're from a broken home. And you're there with these guys.
It's trauma. Trust me. We all have it. That shit give you trauma, man. Trust me. I didn't know I had trauma. I mean,
but that drove us, didn't it?
It drove, but I didn't even know because I was 9 years old. My dad left. I mean, come on. What am I supposed to? I need my dad, but I didn't have a replacement dad. You know what I'm saying? So it's some type of trauma that we gotta, and then that we acted out and not even knowing why. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta heal ourselves as beings, man, and learn to live as human beings in this planet and know that we're all brothers and sisters and we're here for each other. You know what I'm saying? It's like living where I live now. I went outside. Obviously, these neighbors didn't talk to me for a while, but one day I went outside. They were walking like, Rohan, hi, Jamaica Irie, man. Anything you need from us, we're right down the block. If you need a cup of sugar, I'm like, oh, wow.
No, I'm good.
You know, it's nice to like live amongst people, man. And it's nice to like
are you kinder to people today?
Am I what?
Kinder to people today.
I've always been a kind guy though. Like, so kinder, I will say, I can't say I'm kinder. I'm saying I'm more myself. You know, I don't give one fuck. So, relative to how your interpretation of me being myself. So
I love you, man. I tell you this, guys, you had to have seen it. He texted, he DM'd me, goes, Dan, wait, we're Canes. We don't do this. Yeah. And I go like this, you know, if it's any other motherfucker, I'm not taking nothing shit. But you know what? I love this guy so much. I'm not okay. You know, he's one of us. He's in the Jerome and Michael Irvin and all them crazy ass mother, you know, who's like, okay, I'm gonna go here with him. And you know what? Rohan, I'm so excited about this February 14th movie.
It's the most happiest day of my life to see my dad on screen. And the way that the actors, Kingsley Ben-Adir, the way he portrayed my father, I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better actor to do this. No one could have done it any better than this guy. He really crushed it, like, wholeheartedly. Like, he blew it out of the park.
Absolutely. Really February 14th, one love.
Yeah, man.
And Rohan Marley, we're going to be looking forward to it. Rohan, it's been a privilege.
Dan, the man, Rastafari, I love Maji. You don't know it.
I love you to death.
Kids, love me for life, Dan.
Brother for life.
Yes,
thank you, Rohan.
Yeah, give thanks.
Appreciate it. That's great.
I love. Yeah,
absolutely. Love you so much, man. Rohan Marley. God, I can't tell you what an important person he is to the University of Miami and a dear friend of mine. We'll reset. Our friend Tone will join us at 4:30. Hey, that's Tone's opening act. Tone's like this. That was fucking awesome. Hey, I'm going to Tone, that's your opening act. He opened it. He's your opening act, Rohan Marley. I don't know. What the hell else can I do here? All right, we'll reset everything. We'll talk about Jalen here coming back. Please hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
Go for the pulls and the pools. Go for the oohs and the ahs. Go for the bubbles and the bubbly. Go for the story and the stories. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Underdog Fantasy has a way for you to play alongside your favorite football team all season long with their fantasy pick'em game. You pick between 2 to 5 players, select whether they'll go higher or lower on one of their stats, then do what you usually do on a Sunday, watch the games. You can win up to 20 times your money in a single game by going 5 for 5. It's a fantasy game, and the Sports Betting Show wants you to get involved. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com. When you sign up, use the promo code WIN, and Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. That's UnderdogFantasy.com. Use the promo code WIN.
Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Got my guy Tone looking out for Big Sills. Who would have thunk it? Who would have thunk it? Oh, thank you, Rohan. Rohan goes like this. I thought you were racist. I'm like, I know. I don't know. He goes, I don't know. And he goes like this. He's like, Sills, you know we love you, man. You know that. We know who you are. We embrace you and we love you. And he's, hey, Tone, that's great. That is. I mean, he's just like this. He goes, why do those people say those things about you? I go, because it's low-hanging fruit. And because I have a big mouth and I say stupid shit. I mean, when you're on the air 40 years, folks, you're going to say dumb shit sometimes. Okay? Dan, that was right up there with Cat Williams' interview. Anthony, that's quite a take. I appreciate that. Okay? Sills, you're always welcome in the hood. Hey, dude, when I was super young, I was raised in the hood. You would be shocked where I was raised, where I was. My life got way better when I went to my grandparents. So I don't want to put that out there like that. Believe me, Sills, you were raised in Connecticut. Yeah, well, Bridgeport and Norwalk aren't that really. But once I went to Stanford, it was over. It was great. It was a great life. So I don't want anyone to think that. But, yeah, no. Rohan's a really dear friend of mine, as you can tell. I mean, I don't know, between him and Ice Cube and Luther, those guys have been really kind of important to me as I've grown up. Okay? Look at this. Bruce is like this. Sills, man, I was on the hookah watching this thing. Okay? He's Sills, that thing was absolutely radical, dude. Yeah. I'm going to hook you guys up with a positive. This is going to blow your mind. I'm going to do something here that's not negative on Hurts. Oh, my God. What happened? I looked this up. And, of course, I'm using my boy Tone's his little calculator thing. And actually, this tells a really great story. So I went back and looked at the quarterback cap hits coming up in 24. Jalen Hurts on March 13th will make $50 million, and that'll start the contract. Listen to this, what the cap hits are for quarterbacks this coming season. And listen where Hurts lands. Deshaun Watson, 63.9 of the $240 million salary cap that's being projected will be part of the cap hit. 63.9 million of the 240 is allocated to Watson. Dak, final year of his contract, 59.4 is second of the $240 million salary cap. Patrick Mahomes. Now, I don't really care about this one because at the end of the day, this guy is deserving, and whatever the number is, get this, doesn't Mahomes get a blank check for the salary cap? Whatever it is, it's good, right? He's probably the only guy on this list, right? Flexing goes, Sills, positive, really? Hey, better check his DNA. Check it out, though, right? So Mahomes, he has an open check here. He's 51.8. I don't really care about that. Number 4 on this list with cap hits this year in 24 quarterback-wise on the $240 million salary cap. That's being projected by the NFLPA. Kyler Murray, 49.5. 49, basically $50 million of the 240 you have. Remember, $20 million goes to your draft picks in the draft. And they got high draft picks. So they're going to spend some money. So you, in theory, have $70 million lined up in your draft and Murray of 240. Always think of it that way. So look at Watson and the Browns. $63.9 million of the salary cap is cap hit. Okay? That's another $20 million for your draft. You got $80 million. Half your money is in your draft and in your quarterback. Matthew Stafford is 5th, 47.1. Here's the most obnoxious one. You want to listen to this. Daniel Jones is 6th at $47.1 million. It's the worst contract in the league. Would we not say that? It's the worst. Daniel Jones has the worst contract in the league. I'll tell you what. James Bradbury has a better contract than what Daniel Jones is. I would eat Bradbury's contract. Daniel Jones has an impossible contract. It's ridiculous. Dimes Jones, get that guy in the pennies now there, my friend. How about this one? Well, Josh Allen is 47. Josh Allen's won his 4th straight AFC East championship. He finished 2nd in the MVP voting. I don't know. Still got to get it done, though, kid. How about another shitty contract? Derek Carr, 35.7. He's 8th. Where's Hurts? Hurts is a $50 million guy. Russell Wilson, 35.4. He's 9th. I think Baltimore did a nice job here at $52 million. Lamar Jackson's 10th. They got a $32.4 million salary cap hit. Still, first year of the contract, think about it. It's not horrible, but it's a lot. So Lamar's 10th. Jared Goff, he's in a contract year coming up. Got to remember that. So this number is going to change. 31.6 for Jared Goff. He's 11th. Geno Smith has a bigger salary cap hit to the cap of the Seattle Seahawks than Hurts at 31.2. Here's another nice job by Cincinnati. Burrow is the highest paid guy in the league. He's 13th at $29.7. Kirk Cousins has a bigger salary cap hit. Now, remember, he's a free agent. So it's $28.5. He's 14th. Jimmy Garoppolo has a higher salary cap hit than Jalen Hurts at $27.6. Tagovailoa is 16th at $23.1. Justin Herbert is 17th at $19.3. That's a pretty good deal there. $50 million, $19.3. They did a nice job. They must have given him a boatload of money up front. Aaron Rodgers, this sucks. He played 30 seconds. 17-1. He gave a lot of money back. And there's Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts' salary cap hit this year is $13.5 million. You want to hear something? Your two corners pretty much have higher salary cap hits than Hurts does. Your two corners. I mean, is Jalen Hurts' salary impacting the roster? Not really. Not really. Not for at least 3 more years. It's pretty well done, man. Hey, this is where your general manager keeps his job with me. That's actually unbelievable. That's an unbelievable job of what you're doing here. Tone's looking at this. Look at the quarterback. Look at this. That's right. He's pointing out here, NFL rank. He's ranked 19th. Think of that. 19th. Yeah. He's ranked 19th. He's only 7.1% of the upcoming $240 million salary cap. Dude, that's the kicker. Let me see this. Let me take a look at this. Okay. Jalen Hurts is 5% of the cap. He's 5% of the cap with his new deal kicking in. Go back to the positions. So Jalen Hurts is 5.54. Check this out. Jalen Hurts is less than the tight end. I mean, is around the tight end. 5 players combined. Jalen Hurts is less. Look at the offensive line. That's where all your money is, offensive line. And look at a secondary. 20% of your money is in a position where you're the worst. Take a look at this. Let's look at this here. 31% of your money is in the linebackers and in the secondary. 31% of your cap. And you're the worst there. %31 of your salary cap is in your secondary and linebackers. And you have the worst group in the National Football League. As a combined group, I think. I think that's telling. I think that says a lot. You know, Rohan came on and we stopped on the defense. I want to do that when we come back here. So I want to take a timeout. Don't forget, my guy Tone's going to join us. That'll be at the bottom of the hour. Hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
Go for the pulls and the pools. Go for the oohs and the ahs. Go for the bubbles and the bubbly. Go for the story and the stories. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Underdog Fantasy has a way for you to play alongside your favorite football team all season long with their fantasy pick'em game. You pick between 2 to 5 players, select whether they'll go higher or lower on one of their stats, then do what you usually do on a Sunday. Watch the games. You can win up to 20 times your money in a single game by going 5 for 5. It's a fantasy game, and the Sports Betting Show wants you to get involved. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com. When you sign up, use the promo code WIN, and Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. That's UnderdogFantasy.com. Use the promo code WIN.
Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
EAGLEX Eagles.
Big Show, please hit the like button. Thank you guys so much for coming aboard. I can't thank you enough. I'm going to make a point to you here. Look at what they're doing in Los Angeles now. Jesse Minter is leaving Michigan, and he's now going to be the defensive coordinator with Greg Roman, the offensive coordinator, with Jim Harbaugh. I think the Chargers are going to make a run at the AFC West. They got a lot of talent, and they got great coaching. They completely up. How come when I look at what the Chargers did and I look at what the Eagles did, it's kind of half-ass? You almost did what the Chargers did, except you didn't hire a decent head coach. Okay, I mean, they got Jim Harbaugh, Jesse Minter, who worked for both Harbaughs, one in Baltimore and one up at Michigan. And you have Greg Roman now as your offensive coordinator, and you have Justin Herbert, and you have Jim Harbaugh. And Enrico goes, Herbert's never won at any level. Won what? What are we talking here? He's won a Rose Bowl. He won a $50 million contract. Dude, and when you say that Herbert's never won at any level, well, are you suggesting then that Jared Goff's a better quarterback than Justin Herbert, talent-wise? That's again, you got to remember about playing the quarterback position. Are you talking talent, or are you talking how you play the position? Jalen Hurts is not the most talented quarterback in the league. He's one of the most unique. But the guys with the big arm talents are Mahomes, Allen, Herbert, Lawrence. Now, are they better in winning games and seeing the game? No. Here. Let's do this. Once again, you see, people like Callie Green are so dumb. It's like a box of rocks when you talk to him. Would anybody in here dispute that Aaron Rodgers has more gifted talent than Tom Brady? Would you agree to that? That he's more of a gifted athlete than Tom Brady. Would you agree to that? Or are you going to lie and say, no, Tom Brady's a better athlete than Aaron Rodgers. He moves out in the perimeter as well. Okay. But if you had to win a game, who would you pick? That's the difference between Hurts and Herbert. And quite frankly, I don't know who Jalen is yet. Here's the topic. You know what? I'll finish this up with Tone at the bottom of the hour here. Well, actually, we'll redo this, even the offense and defensive side. We'll take a look at the roster here. Has Hurts played his best football? And it's in his rearview mirror. He got worse this year. And by the way, I don't know if he has. It's a question. Has he played? Do you trust the organization to help him? Because they hurt him last year. How do you know Hurts hasn't played his best football? Remember, I told you something like this last year. 22 may be the best you ever see with Jalen Hurts. Just like, hey, yeah, what was the year that Marino went to the Super Bowl? Was his second year in the league? And he never went back? Okay. He never got back. Dan Marino put up fine numbers. Greasy, thank you. So, and Greasy, what year did Marino retire? This will just tell you the difference and what happened in Dan Marino's career. What year did Dan Marino retire? Was it 99 that he retired? Like 15 years later, Marino retired. So Dan Marino's best football was 14 years in the rearview mirror. '99. Dan Marino went 15 years not winning. Put up a lot of numbers. Never won again. I mean, how do you know this is what this is? That was the best team he was ever going to play on? Why are you assuming he's going to get better? By the way, I don't know he's not. This is why when you guys keep saying this, well, Hurts will get better. I mean, that's wishful thinking and hoping, and it's coming from your heart, and I get it. But for me, I've only seen 3 different years. I've seen 3 different seasons out of him. His first year, get a call pass. Second year, he was spectacular. Third year, I didn't think he was very good. Some of you will go, well, he was good for 10 games. Well, there's 17 of them. And you were part of the implosion. And you were second in turnovers. All I see with Jalen Hurts was turnovers and implosion. You see half the story. I see the whole story. His 17 games were not as good as the 22-17 games. Well, Jalen had a better season than he did in 22. No, he didn't because he wasn't as impactful. That's not an opinion. We'd be sitting there waiting and rooting for the Eagles on Sunday. Marino was in the playoffs 10 of 17 years. That's awful nice, Rico. Sounds like a good stat. Why don't you tell the full truth, Rico? Rico won't tell you the truth because Rico likes to tell you, like half of you do, half the story. Rico, why don't you post Dan Marino's postseason record? Tell him what it is, Rico. Tell the folks what Dan Marino's postseason record is as a starting quarterback in the NFL. You going to do it? He's 8-10. Thank you, Tone. He's 8-10. He got to the playoffs 10 of 17. He's 8-10. Dan Marino is 8-10. Shit, Peyton Manning. What is he? 14-13, 12-11. Russell Wilson's 9-7. Only guys with great records are Montana, 16-5, and Brady at 35-14. I think Bradshaw's 14-4. Aikman's got a good one. 8-10. There you go to the playoffs, Sills. Great. Great. How do you know he's not Marino? I would agree with that logic if he had a capable offensive coordinator like he did in the previous season. Okay, so Prince, it's not a horrible take, but you're comfortable in thinking that Kellen Moore is going to do the right thing by Jalen by pulling him further away from the style of play that got him the $50 million. You think it's in the best interest? Here, Prince, I'm not ripping you, Prince. I'm asking you this. Do you really believe that Kellen Moore was brought in here to make him look more like 22 or to make him more look like 23 without the turnovers and move him further away from 22? Because if that's the case, he'll never be better than he was ever in his entire career in 22 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And I wouldn't give him a second contract because the further you get away from 22, if that's the case and that guy gets further away from what he did to get that money, I got buyer's remorse. Jalen Hurts doesn't scare me as a pocket passer. Jalen Hurts scares me as a dual threat guy. He's unblocked. He's undefensible. He's like Steve Young. That 22 season reminded me, if I was going to pick a quarterback, he reminded me of Steve Young that year. Last year, it was turnovers. Turnovers, not knowing where to throw the ball, couldn't handle blitzes. What, do you think that dynamic's going to change? Well, Kellen Moore will help him on the blitzes. Okay. You think the personnel is going to help him? Howie doesn't like running backs. I'm saying that we all noticed the play calling this season. Yeah, but Prince, that was the organizational theory and what they wanted to do. They wanted him to throw the ball more. That it wasn't just that Brian Johnson. Hey, by the way, Brian Johnson kicked the shit out of Vic Fangio's defense in week 7. Wasn't hurting him there. What's the number? Jalen was what? Shit, Jalen was 23 of 31, 279 and 2 touchdowns, 109.5. And Brown was 137 yards on 10 catches against Vic Fangio's defense. What was wrong with the play calling in that game? What was wrong with the play calling? He crushed Fangio and his team was healthy then. What's your excuse there? What happened? They became too predictable? All the targets went to Brown? Defensive coordinator started seeing the trends? Yeah, that's what happened. It was the mentality of what they wanted to do with Hurts that caught up with him. Shit, man, Christian McCaffrey was sitting on the Manning cast calling Eagle plays. Okay? Twiz says that Jalen needs to improve his pocket awareness in reading zones. Twiz, I don't want Jalen to do any of that. I want Jalen to make people fear him again. And Jalen sitting in the pocket is not going to fear anyone. Nobody feared that guy in the back half of his schedule. Nobody feared him. His best moment was Buffalo. In that 5th quarter, I don't know if he played a great game, but that was a great moment. I didn't think he played bad in the Kansas City game either. On the road, KC. Okay, I didn't. By the way, am I saying that Jalen Hurts is not a starting quarterback in this league? Absolutely not. I am not saying he's not. That's not where I'm at. But don't start throwing the word exceptional around because he had 1 year. That's all this. Hey, This is the facts. He's had one great year. How many years has he been in the league? 4. I don't know. Really? In 4 years in the league, Jalen Hurts has a $50 million contract, and he's got one really good year. Herbert's throwing for 20,000 yards. Has he won? Not really. But you see the arm talent. Hey, Josh Allen's been in the league too. What is it, 4 years? Well, at least 5 years. He's won 4 AFC East titles. And he has to compete against Mahomes, Lamar, and Burrow every playoff season. That's kind of tough gauntlet to get through. I'm not saying he shouldn't win. I'm not giving him a hall pass. He's got to win too. But he's had one season. How do you know that this year or the 2022 season? I asked you guys this before, and not many of you wanted to really answer. How do you know that's not going to be the best he has around him? Coordinator-wise? And wait. And the perfect world matches up. Great coordinator, great O-line, great team, great chemistry, all of that. How do you know that's all going to line up again? Hey, man, it's hard to win these things. It's hard to win these things. And get this. You know what? Here. You guys are going more on the intangible of the player. What about the intangibles of the organization? You know, like I said, Steve Young said this. Before I bring Tone on. Steve Young said that there's 5 places he'd want to play quarterback at. Kansas City, San Francisco, the Rams, Green Bay, and Miami. You know why he said that? Those are all, quote, coaches and head football coaches that are what? They're all play-calling head coaches. You notice that? And Young said those 5 teams, because you know why? They're going to develop a quarterback. You think Philadelphia's a place quarterbacks want to go and play? Well, Sills, they put a lot of talent around. Do they? You had a lot of talent with AJ. AJ did not help Jalen Hurts this last year. He didn't. He stunted his growth. He was part of the collapse. The only person that benefited was Brown. Where did the offense benefit? He became predictable. You really think A.J. Brown helped Jalen Hurts last year? I don't know why people look at it like, well, Sills, without him, you know, and you're like, without him, you might be able to spread the ball around more. Let's bring Tone in.
Big Sills, how you feeling today, sir?
Oh, good, my friend. Hey, what'd you make of Rohan?
Man, legend. The lion mindset.
Yes.
For sure,
man.
man.
He loves that.
He had a really dope interview, I think a few years back on Brandon Marshall's I Am Athlete. And that was my first introduction into him, you know, really hearing him speak. And you know, seeing him on the program, that was legendary, man. That was awesome. That was really something to behold, truly.
A lot of love between me and him.
Definitely, man. Definitely. You could tell he speaks from the heart.
Yep. I really love the guy.
I was so glad he reached back out to me saying, "Hey, I'm so sorry we you know couldn't connect." It was so dope. It was so dope. But again, I'm glad we had him on.
Yep. He goes like this to me: "Don't bring my ex up." And I said, "Come on, man, you gotta let me bring her up."
Never.
I go, all right, I won't, man.
Oh man.
Hey, he goes like this. She's coming to the premiere though. So Lauryn Hill's going to the premiere.
That's good.
Dude, I've actually sat down and had drinks with them folks. They're solid folks, man. Anyway, all right. So let me ask you something. Let me start where I was at just a couple seconds ago.
Right.
You think A.J. Brown helped Jalen Hurts last year?
I look at it like this. And I'm so glad we're having this conversation because it really allows you to put things into perspective. The bottom line is the Philadelphia Eagles went 11-6. Jalen Hurts turned the ball over 20 times. They lost. They went 1-7 in their final 8 games. No one was nowhere to be found. The offense was inept. We can talk about that 10-1 start, but it's 17 games in the season. So again, yeah, AJ Brown was on fire the first half of the season. Second half of the season, he went cold. Quarterback went cold. Everybody went cold. Nobody helped anybody. So knowing what I know and looking at the full sample size and not just hanging on to the low-hanging fruit being those numbers he put up, which helped him, the reality is he did not help the Philadelphia Eagles' bigger picture. And the bigger picture is to win the Super Bowl. That's the fact of the matter. So that's not me saying A.J. Brown's a bad player.
No.
That's not me saying A.J. Brown is invaluable. That's not me saying A.J. Brown is a detriment to the Philadelphia. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I felt like they became too, especially in the grand scheme, it got to a point where they became too dependent. It got to a point where the offense was funneling through him and the offense became predictable. So, yeah, A.J. Brown put up a lot of his numbers. But in that 7-game stretch or 8-game stretch, he really was a non-factor. So, again, I look at it like this, approach. Man. The approach was bad. I think A.J. Brown's talent, how exceptional he is, I think the coordinators and the coaches got lazy, and they thought they could just throw the ball to A.J. and he'll fix everything. And that's not how football works. You got to feed you got to feed your wolves. You got to feed everybody.
Tone, doesn't it look like the more they fed him, the more they lost at the end?
You know what's so funny? He wasn't leading the league in targets like in that first half of the season. Then out of nowhere, it just kind of started piling up on the back end, and he ended up leading the league in targets. So that's a fair assessment. But I think their problems are definitely go well beyond A.J. Brown for sure. But again, I think if you want this Philadelphia
Eagles, 30
Eagles
passes, Tone, and I know 15 or 18 of them are going to him,
that's an easy cover.
It's an easy cover.
That's an easy cover. I'm going to
slide my defense to him.
Yeah, of course. So I think their problems go far beyond AJ. But again, if we want this Philadelphia Eagles offense to be a true top tier offense, for them to be potent and a threat, we need more players than AJ Brown to touch that rock. And I think that should be fairly simple to understand.
Okay, I'm going to go on tomorrow with Bill Calarulo, and I'm looking forward to it because Bill, it's not a horrible take. Actually, he's actually thinking, and it's good.
Yeah,
his notion is that you shouldn't pay Jason Kelce $10 million.
I think that's a bargain.
It is a bargain. He's still the best in the sport. Okay, and I would say this to you. Who's going to help the Eagles win and turn this offense around more next year? A.J. Brown or having Jason Kelce in your offense?
I think Jason Kelce's value is immeasurable. It's immeasurable.
It completely is.
He's a large. It's funny. People give a lot of credit to A.J. Brown for, expediting Jalen Hurts' growth.
I think it's Kelce.
And I think okay, that's fair to say to an extent, but I look at Jason Kelce as the guy who helped him truly understand the game and help keep Jalen Hurts on schedule.
That entire O-line, actually.
That whole entire O-line. I think Jason Kelce's value goes beyond what we can actually see.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Listen, I want Jason Kelce back. If he can come back at $10 million, I think that's a bargain. And we know it's not about the money for him right now. We know that's not what it's about. He's at the top of his. You can get away with paying a first team All Pro $10 million. You better take that.
Here again, he made a comment about you take the name out with emotion. I don't give a shit about the name.
No, it's not emotion. Listen, that's
the problem with the Eagles.
Okay.
They care more about the name than they do the production. The guy's still producing.
But listen,
I don't give a shit about the name.
I'm so glad you said that. Okay, take out the name, take out the emotion. Okay, no problem. What team is giving up a first team All Pro center? I took out the name. I took out the emotion. I'm focusing on production. First team All Pro at the age of 36. Pro Bowler. Didn't miss a game. I'm taking out emotion. I'm taking out the name. Too? Who lets that walk out the door?
How about this too? At the end of the day, okay, $10 million for the best center in the sport. Okay, say he goes down and Father Time jumps on his ass and he drops 25%. 75% of Jason Kelce is better than 90% of any center in the league. And so far, I haven't seen that. And the tush push will go away. He is responsible for that. And in my opinion, that entire old line has been more instrumental in the development of Jalen Hurts than anything to do with the wide receivers. Because what's the most important thing? What's the point of having a $50 million quarterback when you got a $2 old line? You don't build championship teams from the perimeter in.
You build from inside out.
You build them from the center out.
Yep. You want to know what Jalen Hurts said? I think it was going into this season, the season that just ended. It was last offseason. I think they asked him. I can't remember exactly what was said, but they asked him about guys coming back, right? And one of the they asked him, how do you feel? Do you think are you guys going to be able to bring everybody back, or how do you feel about the team being able to bring these people back? And he and I'm paraphrasing. He said, well, is Jason Kelce coming back? And they were like, yeah. He was like, all right, that's all I need to know. Yeah, that's what he said. So he understands the value of Jason Kelce being in that huddle. And I think we need to truly understand the value of having that man in that huddle.
Tone, I said something, and you're right, and I've said it as well. I don't know what Kellen Moore is going to bring to the team. I have no idea. We have to wait and see in September how it looks. However, was he brought in your opinion, to have him look like a better version of 23 or a better version of 22?
If I'm answering your question directly without any filler, I think they brought him in to be a better version. I think they brought him in to make Jalen Hurts a better version of the 23 season. If I'm answering your question directly without any filler.
He's not going to win.
Now, obviously, there's more that goes into that. But again, if I had to ask myself, what's their vision for Jalen Hurts?
You didn't pay him for that.
Oh, I understand. I understand that. And I'm all about look, here's my side of things, right? I love Jalen Hurts' skill set. I think the athleticism is always going to be dangerous to an extent. But there's going to get to a point where the athleticism begins to fade, right? I think
get a new guy.
I hear that, but right now I look at Jalen Hurts as a guy.
Wanting to get married or win Super Bowls?
I look at Jalen Hurts as a guy that can win a Super Bowl.
He wanted to call me a dick there, folks. So just so you know. I know your expressions now, Tone. Go ahead.
I look at Jalen Hurts as a guy who actually can throw the ball from the pocket. Since we're on the pocket conversation, I do want to bring up here we are right here, Jalen Hurts pocket stats. All right. So and this was posted. I want to add context to it. This was posted on October 30th of 2023 at the time. From that point, since the start of the 2022 season, Jalen Hurts in the pocket had a 72.7 completion percentage, over 5,000 yards passing, 31 passing TDs, 12 INTs. He averaged almost 9 yards an attempt with a 107.1 passer rating. So he can throw the ball from the pocket. Is he the most electric thrower like a Herbert or Allen? No. Can he throw the ball like Stafford? No. But he can deliver the rock from the pocket. So I look at him as a guy who can get better. Again, I believe if you marry his growth as a passer with that athleticism, I think he can be lethal. But again, I have no idea what Kellen Moore is going to provide. But I would like to think Kellen Moore is smart enough to be able to look at Jalen Hurts and say, all right, this is what you're strong at. This is what you're weak at. We're going to always lean into what you do well, but at the same time, we need to expand in your skill set and make you a better quarterback so you can stand the test of time. So I understand your perspective, and I don't think your perspective is off the wall. I think I just have a lot tied into Jalen Hurts than you do, obviously.
Okay. Here's how I look at him. I think he's a top 15 passer. But when I put him in and I go back to his 22 and put him in a skill set, I think he's a top 3 quarterback. When you move him further away from that 22 season and you want him to be a pocket passer, he's like the rest of them fucking dudes. Okay? And guess what? Like I said to you, last decade, Only 3 first-rounders have made it to the Super Bowl. One's have won it. Winning those things is not easy. Guys put up a lot of numbers. Hey,
Right.
Judd. So what is he, Josh Allen? Okay. If you're comfortable with that, you're all right then. He's going to have Josh Allen seasons. High turnovers, win some games, a couple division titles, but you're not winning a Super Bowl with that, dude. You know what you're winning it with? That guy that strikes fear in you. And coordinators not knowing where. Jalen Hurts in 22, the greatest asset he had was he was unpredictable. His worst asset he had in 23 was he was predictable. Okay? I mean, it was so blatantly. And as the season went on, I'll tell you what really hurt the Eagles was the amount of those great coordinators that they were playing early in the year. More intel, more intel, more intel, more intel. Shit, by week 11, they knew where the ball was going, and they knew the 2 plays. Like I was evaluating. Shit, it got to a point where the defensive coordinators are going, shit, the Eagles are playing 10 players on 11. They don't even use wide out number 3.
Yeah.
They're not even going there. Dude, you could have put a linebacker on that.
Yeah, and also, it got to a point in the season where you saw people saying blatantly, the Eagles are running the same plays. They're not even trying to reinvent the damn thing. You know, they're just running the same plays. So, again, you know, I look at Jalen Hurts and I say, this guy's talented. He can play the quarterback position, and the Eagles can do a lot worse. You know, and also
completely.
Yeah, and again, he's in the NFC. So I think about that and I say, okay, obviously he doesn't have to go through the gauntlet that is the AFC. So his chances of making it back to the big game is definitely higher just based off of that alone. But the NFC is improving. You got Jordan Love coming, right? The Lions are getting better. It looks like Brock Purdy's going to be here to stay. So he's going to have some people to go up against in that conference. You know,
why do they hate the 22 season so bad in Philly? Management.
That's an interesting question. Why do they hate it? I don't know if they hate it.
They sure got away from it.
But as a matter of fact, it's funny. You asked me this a while back. You said, do I think the Philadelphia Eagles do I think the Philadelphia Eagles have buyer's remorse? I think you asked me that a while back. And actually, you asked me why are they trying to change what they bought? That's what it was. Why are they trying to change what they bought?
And turning it into a Volkswagen.
Right. So let me ask you this, right? How far can someone get only focusing on what they do well instead of trying to hone their weaknesses?
Tom Brady did it for 22 years. Check down, check down, check down, check down, check down, check down, check down.
But he also became a better downfield thrower as his career progressed.
Let me ask you this here.
He became a better thrower. And go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead.
If you take 35,000 shots.
And also Tom Brady's an anomaly. You know, okay. I try not to compare guys to that.
Steph Curry, and I take 35,000 3-point shots in practice. You think Steph Curry's working on going to the rim? You think he's working on, two things Steph Curry does exceptionally well. You know what that is? Movement without the ball and his 3-point shooting. And plus, tremendous leadership. He's awesome without the ball.
But here's the thing.
You think he works on any of that other? You think he works on defense?
The 3-point shot never leaves you.
How about this? You think he works on defense?
Oh, hell no.
Okay.
But,
wait a minute.
Also,
you just told me he has to work on some of his weaknesses.
You should. Hold on, wait. Time's out here. Let's make this clear. When it comes to anything you're trying to be successful at, if you only leaning on 1 or 2 things you do well, you're never going to make it but so far. There's limitations. There's limitations on your success. At the end of the day, Jalen Hurts' dual threat nature, you say it all the time. It doesn't last long. You would never build around that, correct?
That's right.
So therefore, and also when you have stability, and then also it has a low ceiling. So based off the Kellen Moore hire, and again, I have no idea what he's going to bring. I believe based off that hire, they're trying to raise the ceiling.
Why?
And what do you mean why?
Okay, so
stability at the quarterback position is key.
Expand something that makes him lesser the player to try to get 15 years out of him instead of playing a guy for 8 years that wins you 2 Super Bowls doing what he does best.
That you're implying that he can't get better at throwing the ball.
Well, have at it.
And also you're implying
I'll wait all those years in for him.
And then you're implying the athleticism is just going to hang around. The athleticism goes for anything else.
I haven't seen very good results of it.
Well, again, I don't think this year alone was just based off of Jalen Hurts' ineptitude. I think this year has so many other issues than just that position. It was shitty coaching. The defense was awful. So it was a combination of so many things. Again, I'm not making it.
So we had two first.
I'm gonna make this clear too.
No, I know you're not. I know you're not. We're having a debate.
Yeah, of course.
So basically, Jalen Hurts has had 2 first-year starter years. The 21 year and now this one, because this is a completely different guy than the year previous.
I wouldn't say
completely different guy.
I wouldn't say completely different. I think that's a stretch. Completely different. I wouldn't say that.
Rushing attempts, less RPOs.
I wouldn't say
more turnovers, more picks. Okay.
I wouldn't say a completely different year. I will say, from what I saw a guy that looked slower. I saw a guy that was making worse decisions than he did the year before. I saw a guy that was getting a lot of his passes tipped at the line and that was getting returned for picks. I saw a guy that fumbled a lot. I also saw a head coach that didn't know what he was doing. And I saw a defense that couldn't stop a nosebleed. So everything about that Philadelphia Eagles team was in the toilet. So if I'm betting on anybody to take their game to the next level, because I'm looking at it like this, right? Although Jalen Hurts did put up, 80 rushing yards in the Super Bowl? He did. I think it was something like that. He threw for over 300 yards. He passed
over 400 yards in that game?
He passed his ass off. He was delivering the ball from the pocket.
So he had 400 yards, right? He had 400 yards?
I think something like that. I think. But my overall point is, I look at Jalen Hurts and I see a guy that can throw the ball. I see a guy that can habitually average 66, 67% completion percentage. I see a guy that can play around with the 3,800, 4,000 yard passing yards. I see a guy who can flirt with 25 to 30 passing touchdowns. And again, I understand your angle. You're looking at it like this. Look, this guy is an RPO guy. His skill set is dangerous. Lean into it. And at the end of the day, maximize these next 5, 6, 7, 8 years. He's the best RPO
quarterback I've ever seen, including Lamar.
Right. I understand that. And also, this is even more to your point, right? The Baltimore Ravens are saying, look, we're leaning into what this guy does well, nothing else. And I can respect that angle, right? But in some circles, and I'm not saying this is fact or fiction, but in some circles, people that you had on the show, they think Hurts is a better pure passer than Lamar.
He is.
So if I know that, I'm gonna nurture that, and I'm gonna try to build that up.
Both.
You can't develop athleticism; it fades.
No, I'm talking the run game and.
How about this? See, this is what he needs. Hold on, real quick. This is what he needs, in my opinion. He needs running backs. That's what he really needs, because in my opinion,
but your GM doesn't believe in him,
and that's a whole nother conversation.
That's right. Look,
because I think what doesn't get talked about enough is the impact Miles Sanders had last year. I think what they need to do is, again, to take some stress off of Jalen Hurts in that running game, bring some real running backs in the building. That way, you can still have that balance. You can still keep guys off balance on the opposition. So I'm still rolling with Jalen Hurts. I'm still rolling the dice on that table.
Okay, let me ask you something here. And
right.
Let's see, 17, 18. In the last 18 games, has Jalen Hurts played better than that Super Bowl? Was there one game?
You say that one more time, my friend?
Is there one game since that Super Bowl that he played against the Chiefs in the last 18 games that you think he played better in?
Since that game?
Since that game.
No, that game was magic.
Okay.
No, if I'm keeping it real with myself.
So he didn't get better from that Super Bowl for 18 ball games.
To answer your question directly, he didn't play a game that matched that performance. No, he has not.
And struck the fear in you. Because personally, I think if Hurts gets that ball back at the end of the game, he wins it.
I agree with that. But
he would have won it with his legs.
It's funny you say that. He scored the game time 2-point conversion with his legs. so to your point, yeah. I mean, listen. Like the bottom line is right. I think what it is what we're having right here is we're just having a philosophical headbutt here, right? And I think that's okay.
See, you want him to play 15 years. I want to get the best out of him for 8 or 9, and it's gravy and a cherry on top if he plays 12. Troy
I hear
could
you.
play 12.
Right,
I mean,
I hear you.
Tone, I don't give a fuck about 8 years from now. I care about September 6th in
No,
Brazil.
I hear you. And remember when we talked about this before, one of the things you and I were in agreement on is, look, I want to do what he does well. I don't care about health. I don't care about nothing. And I do feel that way. I want Jalen Hurts to be the best version of him. Now, in saying that, do I think Jalen Hurts can improve as a passer? Yes. Do I think he can improve do I think he can improve in the pocket presence? Do I think he can improve as just the overall thrower of the football? I do. And that's what I'm banking on. And again, you asked me the direct question, was the Kellen Moore hire to bring back 22 or expand on 23? And just based off of their decision, I would have to guess that they're trying to build off of 23.
I agree.
Because again, and also I want to make this clear too. I didn't want Cliff Kingsbury or Kellen Moore.
I would have hired Greg Roman.
I didn't want neither of those guys, but he's here. So now
I would have hired Greg Roman.
So now I got to make sense of the hire.
See, Greg Roman makes more sense to me for Jalen than
he
Kellen
just got
Moore.
hired somewhere. Where did he get hired at?
Chargers.
He's
now the OC for Herbert. You know what they're working on with Herbert? Moving around in the pocket.
I was just
running
about that.
RPOs.
Okay, now let me ask you this. I'm glad you said that. Because Greg Roman is known for working with Lamar Jackson.
Got Lamar that MVP award, led the NFL in touchdown passes.
Why isn't Greg Roman leaning into what Herbert does well? Why add the RPOs? Why expand his game? Why?
It's a great comment, but the true play caller in that building is Jim Harbaugh. So he's brought in for a specialty. That's the RPO part of it.
So why? Well, why though? Why bring him in for that? That's not what Herbert does well.
Because they're trying to create another dynamic that the Eagles are trying to take away from Jalen Hurts.
And the Eagles are trying to create another dynamic for Jalen Hurts to become a better pocket quarterback.
But he's not the passer Herbert is.
And Herbert's not the runner Jalen Hurts is.
Okay, I get you're right. We're saying the same thing here.
Exactly. That's all.
But here, again, Jalen Hurts, I just don't believe is going to win Super Bowls from the pocket. I do not believe that.
And all I can do.
He wasn't an MVP candidate because of his arm.
I hear you. I understand what you're saying, but all I can do is
he threw for 22 touchdowns.
All I can do is respect your opinion, and then we'll find out. That's all I can do. That's all I can do, man.
No, I don't think any of us are wrong here.
It's just a philosophical difference. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely. See, I don't believe you're right. It is. I believe more in a guy who's going to win from the pocket with the arm. You think Hurts is going to get better as a passer, and you want to go through growth and developing his arm.
No, don't get it twisted. I want to win now. Don't get it twisted.
Well,
I want to win now.
Step backwards this year trying to change him.
I definitely want to win now, but I also think they didn't.
You think the Eagles wanted to win this year?
That's a good question. I also think that they didn't have somebody in the building that knew what they were doing.
Okay.
So, I think that's a part of it too.
Let's do something fun here.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm going to go back. And as they're getting ready for free agency, when is that, Tone? When is free agency? How many weeks away?
Let's see. NFL free
agency. I got to think that's March.
Okay, so
what is it?
All right, here we go.
Is it in February? After February 17th or something?
Okay, all right, here we go. It says February 20th. Beginning this date through 4 p.m. New York time on March 5th, clubs designate franchise or transition players. February 27th through the 4th, NFL Scouting Combine. March 5th, prior to 4 p.m. Eastern time, deadline for clubs to designate franchise or transition players. So teams have until March 5th to put the franchise tags on guys. And then March 11th through the 13th, during the period beginning 12 p.m. noon Eastern time, clubs are permitted to contact and enter into a contract negotiation with certified agents of players who will become unrestricted free agents. So that's legal tampering period.
Yep.
And then March 13th, the league year and free agency signing period begins at 4 p.m. Eastern time. So March 13th. March 13th.
March 13th.
March 13th at 4 p.m. Eastern time. Legal tampering starts March 11th.
So right now what teams are doing, they're looking at the roster and they're looking at every single position room and every single thing on their roster as they're getting ready for free agency.
Right.
Then I believe the 27th is the April draft, if I'm not mistaken. So that'll be the second part of it. I think it's April through May 4th.
Yep, April 25th through the 27th is the draft. Yes.
27th. Okay, that's the draft. So what I did in the first hour, and I'm going to do it now with you. I'll go back here.
Yes.
And I'm going to go down the list here, and I want you to follow up if you think it's wrong or right in my takes here on this here. And I'm going to do the easy part of the team first. I'm going to do the offense. I'm saying this with Hurts. He's the dude. I have no problem with him. I believe that they're hiring good quality coordinators and assistant coaches around him. I don't know, but here's my problem again. You know what makes me concerned about the room and about him? You went from one extreme and one dynamic where you hired nobodies to where you're hiring
a bunch of somebodies. Yeah, everybody's.
It just makes it look inconsistent.
It makes it look like you made a huge mistake the year before. It just looks. It looks very knee jerkish, right?
How about this? Look at the Chargers. So they hire the kid Jesse Minter from Michigan, who worked with both Harbaughs as coordinator of defense. You got Greg Roman there as the offense coordinator, and you got Harbaugh. They're doing everything in their power to make sure they get the most out of Herbert.
Right.
With all these quality coaches on both sides of the ball,
right.
A play calling head coach, everything.
Yeah.
I don't know if that dynamic, they kind of did that in Philly. But
they should have went all in.
Dude in the building that is the worst dude in the building to keep.
They should have went all in.
All in. They didn't go all in.
Me and John talk about this all the time, and me and him agree. If you were going to dismantle his whole staff and bring in all these experienced people, why the hell did you keep him in the building? It's very similar. It's very similar to the Sean Desai situation, which makes me feel like it was their decision to demote Sean Desai because it mirrors it perfectly. Why keep a guy in the building if you're already going if you're going to neuter him? Why keep him? So, because you care about how people view you?
Yep.
No, you should care more about getting it right rather than how people view you.
Exactly. And I don't believe I think getting it right is part of it, but I think looking right is more important to them.
And that's my problem.
It's totally a problem.
I don't care about how listen, I don't give a damn how people see me. Did I produce?
That's right. You know what they'll see me doing? Lifting the Lombardi trophy. That's all I care a shit about.
Right.
How I look in losses.
Right. It's, people have short-term memory in this league anyway.
That's right. Running back room, Swift. I said this, money will be an issue. And quite frankly, to me, I don't think he's a power back. I don't think he was an upgrade. By the way, I think he had a really good season. I think he's a fine ball player. But get this. You know what he is? He's not Steph Curry. He's more of a Klay Thompson. He's the other shooting guard. He's a number 2 guy. He's my second guy in the building. I need someone else in there that's more of the 20s to 20 guy. Or Swift can be 20 to 20, and I need somebody from 20 in. Because he's not the guy from 20 in. And so he's limited. He's not a good pass blocker. Mm-hmm. I think they can upgrade that position. How about this? If I got 850 yards out of a running back next year with that O-line that I've invested so much money in, and I drafted a guy who's one of the best pass blockers and pass pro guys when it comes to pass protection, did I not upgrade the running back?
Hey, if they could block, it's an upgrade no matter who's out there.
That's right.
So, right.
I'm protecting a $50 million guy. I don't give a shit about Swift's numbers.
Look, that's why I love what the Lions did. The Lions had a perfect balance between, if you noticed, when they had a perfect balance between David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. And if you notice, when David Montgomery went out, that running attack was not the same because Gibbs doesn't run with power. He's a guy you use in the pass game. He's a guy that's elusive. He can get out. He get out in open space, things like that. I've been preaching this for a long time. I think the Philadelphia Eagles need to rebuild their running back room the same way how it was built in that 2017-2018 year. You had a combination of power, speed, and pass catching ability, and they all could block. So I don't understand why they keep having these dudes out there that can't block. Like Miles Sanders really couldn't block like that. They haven't had a good blocking running back since
LeGarrette Blount.
Yeah. Yeah, they haven't had a strong, like a legit running back that can block since
That
maybe
dude will blow
LeGarrette
you
Blount
up.
and J.J.
I've seen him. I know him. I've seen him
Yeah.
blow people up in Tampa.
Right. So again, I think they need to go back to that. And I've always liked running back rooms with a combination of power and pass catching ability.
Yeah, me too.
Always. I
think
like
in
physical
today's
running
NFL,
backs.
you have to have a dual threat running game.
You have to, especially if you're not investing big money into one guy. Then
Right.
make sure you bring the right guys in then, because you got
Absolutely.
flexibility. It's common
Absolutely.
sense.
Now we'll go to the receivers. A.J. Brown,
Yeah.
ton of money, great player, a lot of production, a lot of targets. Yeah, I mean, I'm not moving him this year, but he's not here long.
Yeah, if I'm being honest with myself, I don't think he finishes his career here.
No way.
And that's no. And again,
If he gets
I hate that we even got to
here,
do
I'll be
this.
shocked.
I hate that we even got to do this.
I know,
Like,
because it sounds like we're shitting on him, and I'm
Yeah,
not.
like, right. It's like we're trying to talk business here. We're trying to talk numbers here. We're trying to talk money. And I don't
getting
know
better.
if he right. And I don't know if he finishes his career here. I know Devontae Smith is gonna finish his career here. I know that for a fact because they drafted him. And you know how the Eagles love their draft picks. So I know he's gonna finish his career here. And I know that guy has real skill, real talent. So AJ Brown, moving him this year would be unfeasible. You would incur the biggest dead cap hit, that you probably could ever take on. But maybe the following year or the year after that, I think the Eagles are going to start thinking about how can they rebuild, how can they retool this offense to make it a little bit more balanced. Again, that has to coincide with the quarterback getting better, because look, at the end of the day, right? When you really about some of the best situations at quarterback, some of these guys right now, they really got one guy, maybe they got one legit wide receiver and a competent tight end.
Yeah.
Right. And then the other receiver is like, maybe a C plus B minus guy or whatever. The Eagles right now got 2 A plus receivers. That's not something that lasts you for 10 years. So that's why them not winning that Super Bowl last year was so damning.
Absolutely.
It's damning. That's why their window, quite frankly, is short.
Yeah.
Because eventually they're
The
going
way
to
he
pay.
built it.
They're going to have to pay the piper when it comes to Devontae Smith, and eventually AJ Brown, depending if he's still producing at that level or not, he's going to want to re-up. And guess what? I don't know if that happens in Philadelphia. I just don't. And again, this has nothing to do with the guy's play. He's a tremendous player. He helps make the offense better.
Completely.
But you have to have a more balanced offensive attack. You have to make everybody a threat on that. That's my humble opinion. I think offenses are more lethal when you have more people that can do things with the ball.
Do you think the $60 million is worth having him on the team?
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, you throw the ball to him, he go and catch it. So he's valuable. He produces. He does. Okay, I put it this way. He does his job. He doesn't make anybody throw him the ball. He doesn't call the plays. The ball comes to him. He catches it.
Does it make the team better?
So say it again.
Does it make the team better? Does he make the team better?
Yes. Now, here's another. Now, I think
Last
the
8
important
games, I didn't see it.
Yeah, but I don't put that on him. I don't think again, AJ doesn't call the plays. I don't blame AJ for what went down. I look at AJ as a guy. He show up. He's a wide receiver. He can't throw himself the ball. He doesn't call the plays.
So it's Jalen's fault.
Jalen has to wear that. Yes, Jalen fell in love with that target. It's okay to say that.
It is. I'm not. No.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Not you. But I'm just saying, like, it's okay to say Jalen Hurts he fell in love with that target. He did. You know what I mean? AJ Brown didn't lead the NFL in targets for nothing. He fell in love with that target. AJ Brown was he was dominant all year. So you can kind of understand it. But you have to be more disciplined as a quarterback to understand that you got to get your other guys involved, because your offense is more lethal that way. When you keep targeting the same guy, your offense becomes predictable.
Do you think
it's very obvious?
Do you think AJ? Because last year I don't think AJ helped Jalen Hurts at all. I mean, high turnovers, targeting, predictability.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see it, but I will say I'll ask you this: I do think AJ Brown helped Devontae Smith.
Yeah, I do. Also, I need to find out if there's a stat that shows which, like, depending on who you targeted, who led to the most interceptions. You get what I'm saying? Like, okay,
Yep.
targeting this player, how many interceptions came from targeting him, targeting this guy?
Would
I
you
need to find
agree
out what that
he
is.
made more tougher throws to A.J. Brown than to Devontae Smith?
Yes. Like it's
Why?
you.
Why
Oh,
wouldn't you want to
man.
go to the – Brady says it all the time. Why not go to the easier throw? And if you have to punt, you have to punt. Why
I
is
hear
that
you.
such a questionable thing in Philly to do, where you have to have conversations on Monday morning with the owner and the GM on why you threw 7-8 checkdowns, but you still won the game? Why do I have to go there, Tone, and answer to that when as long as you win the freaking game, that's all that truly matters in the end here.
That was my biggest problem with the Doug Peterson era. Why is he answering questions about how they won the game? They won the game. I don't understand it.
I wouldn't have a meeting if we won.
Right. We won the game. Now, if we
Right.
lost,
If we got blown out 31-7, we have a conversation. I want to know
Right.
what happened.
And here's the thing, right? Real football people understand that every game has a complexion to it, has a tone to it, and you can't
It's completely different. If there's 12, if there's 17 chapters in a book, Tone, every single game is its own entity of a chapter.
Yeah, and you can, and every game you can't approach the exact same way.
Gotta be
You know what I mean? Every game doesn't call for you to throw the ball 50 times.
Correct.
It doesn't. As a matter of fact, in my humble opinion, if you throw the ball 50 times, that means you're losing. So,
right.
by my
Lamar
logic,
throwing the ball 47 times in that AFC Championship game, you knew immediately they were losing.
exactly. And in my humble opinion, the less you throw the ball, that means the more games you're winning.
Yeah, that means you're dominating at the point of attack and running the ball down your throat.
Exactly. Throwing the ball like it's, we're in this. And this is where we talk about analytics taking over the game, and it's frustrating to me. It's very simple, and they make this game. I hate when nerds get a hold of something very primal. You know what I mean? Football is a primal. Football is a primal sport. It's like Rohan Marley said, it's the lion mindset.
Yeah.
When it comes to football, you know what I mean? We're not. This isn't a. It's not a. It's not
a game for the faint of heart.
Yeah. So again, why are we like? I can't stand when nerds get a hold of it because they're trying to turn it into a pageant, like a beauty pageant contest. Last time I checked, it's called football. So again, I look at it like this: I'm going to be physical. I'm going to punch you in the mouth. I'm going to kick your ass, and I'm going to make sure you feel it the next day. Like all this high flying and pretty boy shit. Like, nah, man, it's time to get physical, baby. And that's the kind of football I like.
And speaking of that, WR2, let me say this to you about this kid, and I love saying this about him. Man, I'll tell you what, of all the players on your football team, and I don't really like to fall in love with anybody, but man, I mean, he is just a polished Ferrari, Pininfarina painting, the Pirellis, as advertised, hands, route tree, all the
Durability
that they throw at him with those shitty routes, still does it. Tap toes the sidelines, phenomenal hands, works hard, great leader,
keeps his head down,
awesome in the huddle. That kid is he is really a fantastic football player. I mean, I was wrong about him. I thought he'd be less durable. I thought he'd be like that Jamison Williams kid who's always hurt in Detroit.
A lot of people did. It's
I
okay
thought
though.
he'd be that guy.
But here's the thing though.
Really spectacular
what you're saying though is not like random. A lot of people felt that way. The biggest knock on him coming out of college was, damn, can he hold up?
Oh, I didn't think he could.
He's taking some shots, and he got right up and caught the ball the next play, and he's getting so much better at the catch point too. You know what I mean? Like year one, we kind of had some. I kind of had some questions about, okay, if it's a 50-50 ball, can he go up and get it? I had some questions about that. Year two, he proved me wrong. He went up, climbed the ladder, was snatching it, taking hits. One of my favorite moments from Devontae Smith was in that Washington game in 2022. Jalen Hurts threw a beautiful deep ball. Actually, it wasn't even perfect, but Jalen Hurts threw the deep ball. Devontae Smith jumped up and mauled two Washington DBs and landed at the 2-yard line. The Eagles went hurry up, and I think they called a timeout, and it was like a 4th down or a 3rd down. It was like it was at halftime. and they went right. And remind you, Devontae Smith's on the ground heaving because he landed on his back, so he got the wind knocked out of him. He got right back up on the same play because they went hurry up, got up, caught the touchdown, mossed the guy again with one lung working. Like, the dude is fierce. He's fierce.
Do you know my favorite?
I rock with Devontae.
You know what my favorite moment is with him? You're right. My favorite moment was when it was either this year or last year. He had no catches and no yards.
That was week 1, Detroit.
And he came in and someone said something. He didn't make a comment. He didn't say anything. Just went about his business and didn't complain, didn't say anything. And in today's environment of wide receivers, when you're a first-round draft choice like that,
top 10,
and you're looked at to be a guy who's supposed to come in here and be one of the better receivers in the history of the program, and you don't do anything, or like say when you only get 2 catches and 20 yards or something, like a couple games this past year early in the season, I look at that and I go like this. It's a guy I'm not really concerned with his numbers. He's concerned with winning games. And I believe him. See, I don't believe Devontae Adams. I don't believe Justin Jefferson. I don't believe Stephon Diggs. I really don't believe A.J. Brown. That they would rather have wins over catches. I think that's a trend in the NFL today with the wide receivers. I think Cooper Kupp wants to win ball games. He took less money to stay in Los Angeles.
I think Mike Evans wants to win ball games.
I think Mike Evans wants to. I do too. I think Mike Evans is that. I don't think Tyreek Hill. But I think Devontae Adams is one of those guys who does not want to win. He'd rather have catches. But when I look at Devontae Smith, I don't think he's concerned with that. I think he's one of the receivers that you would want. And Brady, can you imagine him and Tom Brady? Good night. That would be frightening.
That's Neo and Morpheus. That'd be something.
How about him and Mahomes?
That'd be crazy, man.
Dude,
that'd be crazy.
Him and Burrow would be insane.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. If the Eagles don't do him right, and I don't know who his agent is, I hope he hires the biggest dick possible.
Let me find out.
So I would go to the Philadelphia Eagles and go, I'm going to send his ass to Mahomes, or I'm going to send his ass to Burrow, or I'm going to send his ass to Jim Harbaugh. And I'll tell you what, you better pony up $25 million because he'll get it.
Oh, listen to this. Devontae Smith is signed to Clutch Sports with Jalen Hurts. Both Nicole
handle him?
Nicole doesn't handle Devontae though. Nicole handles Hurts. He's handled by Kelton Crenshaw.
Okay,
I'm not sure who that is, but but they're both signed. They're both signed to Clutch Sports.
He has a dick guy. I mean that in a positive way.
No, I hear you.
What I mean is he's not going to walk out of the room like this. Yeah, we'll take the 5th highest paid number. He'll want to walk out of the room with get this. He'll walk out of the room with a demand of being paid the highest wide receiver in the league.
Okay. So
and you know what the Eagles will do? The Eagles will fight back and go, that's funny, Tone. I never thought of this. They may keep A.J. Brown on that football team through the contract negotiations of Devontae Smith to get him at a lower price because he's wide receiver 2 right now.
That'd be clever. Kelton Crenshaw, he represents Chase Young, Devontae Smith, Greg Newsome, and Kayvon Thibodeau. And he also represents some other guys, but those are his top 4 clients.
And sounds like he's like the 5th guy in the building in there.
And he represents Will Anderson and DeAndre Hopkins.
Okay. He's moved up a couple of doors in the building now. Okay. Hey, okay. Yeah, all right. Okay.
Oh, man. It says here he's negotiated contracts. His total contract negotiation totals amount to $285.2 million.
Good. Devontae's not. That's not going to. You think that's going to be an easy sign? That's going.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not. It's not. It's not going to be an easy sign. But Devontae Smith.
I'm an Eagle and I love my Eagles. And
Devontae Smith strikes me as Listen, man.
And Howie
Listen,
will make it happen.
listen. No. It's not even about Howard.
Every
Listen,
time he says it, oh, Howie will make it work and put the 2 behind the 4 and the 4 behind the 9.
you know, it's funny you say that. I don't call him Howie anymore. I don't call him Howie anymore. He has to earn that back. He's not Howie. He's Howard now. He's Howard until further notice. He's Howard.
I'm not goofing on anybody. I love
No, you're good. No, you're fine. But his name is Howard now.
Howard the Duck. All right, hey Tone, I got a serious question to ask you about your offense. How do you feel about going into every football game knowing that you play 10 on 11 when at wide receiver number 3, and I'm not even going to mention those turds, you have 0 production, you have 0 anything out of it, you get nothing out of it. You play 10 on 11 every single game.
Pretty much.
I mean, what are you going to do with that position? You think Kellen Moore addresses that? That's got to be one of the positions he addresses.
I would like to think so, because me personally, I feel like wide receiver 3 deserves more respect. Those guys are low-key chain movers. Those are the guys, in my opinion, that should have hands like glue, and they should know how to get open. I don't need them to be the fastest. I don't need them to be the biggest.
One more thing. Blocking the run game.
And blocking in the run game. That's why I felt like they should have did a better job of getting Olamide involved, because every time you threw him the ball, he caught it, and he knew, and he was high effort guy in the blocking game, high effort. But nonetheless, I agree with you. I think you need to get more out of that wide receiver 3 position. I don't know why. You know, when I talk to some people, they kind of dismiss it and say, "Well, you got AJ and Devontae. Why am I throwing it to the number 3 wide receiver?" Because you're trying to make the offense lethal, not just 2 guys. You're trying to expand. You're trying to make them guard everybody, not just 1 guy or 2 guys. You know what I mean? I think
Rico Sirianni never addressed that position. He just never did.
Because you know what they did? They convinced themselves that Quez Watkins was the answer. And my thing is, he's a non-factor. If you're not catching, all I hear is, "Oh yeah, the speed takes the top off his speed takes the top off the defense." He's not catching the ball. What difference does it make?
You know who Quez Watkins is? You know that last bit of orange juice in the bottle in the refrigerator that no one wants to drink, and you look at someone and you go, "Now, why wouldn't you finish this?" That's who he is.
Quez Watkins is the butt bread. You know?
Yeah, he's the thing going, "I got to make PJs out of butt bread." Come on, man.
Yeah,
not working for me, man.
Exactly, not working at all.
He's like, "Now, why wouldn't you finish that iced tea?" You see that? That's Quez Watkins' tea right now. I don't want that, man. That's backwash. Drink that shit. I hate that. I look in the refrigerator and I want to get a thing of iced tea, and there's this much in it, and I go, "Now, who would do that?"
Listen, now I know why you only the Dan Cave. Because you go off.
Yeah. Thank you very much. All right, here's this now.
Yes, sir.
It's gonna sound awful here. Hey, Dallas Goedert, man, you're unreliable, man. I'm like this. I'm right here. I'm right here. You know, he makes more money than Travis Kelce.
It's fucking unbelievable.
What, dude? I'm right here, Tone. I'm like this close to going, you know, man, I'm gonna move this guy in a trade, and you're gonna trade Dallas Goedert. We can't keep missing 20. Well, Tilsey broke his hand. I know. Year before that, it was a knee. Year before that, it was an ankle. Year before that, it was something else. Year before that, every year he's played, he's had something happen. This guy is not reliable.
Simple as that. It's very simple. I would much rather.
I want the guy in Cleveland. He's going to be a free agent.
I would much rather have a guy who's slightly less talented, but he plays all 17 games.
Jake Ferguson.
Than a guy who's more talented. And I'll put it this way.
The guy in Washington.
Listen to this. The Cowboys drafted Jake Ferguson, right? He's on a rookie deal. He's outplaying a guy that's a top 5 paid tight end. Make that make sense.
Again, bad money after bad money is on that Eagle payroll right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Dude, the money. Dude, you want to hear something? The only great contract that's really there is Mulata's and Jalen's.
Yeah. That's a pretty, you're right. Look, I'm not pulling my punches with this team anymore. You know, I treated them with kid gloves last year, all that kind of stuff. You know, I'm not pulling my punches with this team anymore because what happened this year was unacceptable, Sills. It was unacceptable.
I got
You know
it.
what
How
I mean?
about this
I
one?
didn't see you real quick. You and I spoke in the previous offseason and said, look, this defense isn't going to be as good, but week 8, week 9, they should probably start to figure it out.
I thought that.
It was the opposite.
You totally.
They actually played their best, and then it got worse. Who saw that coming?
Nobody.
Who saw the defensive line falling off like that?
It just imploded. So I've never seen an implosion like that. I mean, it was like a sinkhole.
Honestly, you know what it looked like? It looked like somebody put Marilex in the Gatorade. And everybody and everybody just
the bed.
Yeah.
Hey, Mailata, you're right. I think Malata's the best athlete on the field and on the team.
He's tremendous.
Get this. This guy didn't know how to put a chin strap on 5 years ago. Now he's the 3rd best rated left OT in the sport, and he's worth every penny of it.
Mm-hmm.
He's just completely outstanding. And get this, Dickerson and him, I'm going to make a comparison to you. I think Dickerson and Mailata could be a modern-day Art Shell and Gene Upshaw. And for those who don't know, those were 2 Hall of Fame offensive linemen that played over a decade in Oakland with the Raiders, and both went on to Canton. That you solidified for the next decade. Think about this, Tone.
Well, hold on.
Next decade.
Well, hold on. Let's hold on.
Dickerson and Mailata, unless you want to move Dickerson to center.
Hold on. Let's hold our horses now, right? Because everyone wants to keep AJ Brown, right? Let's hold our horses here. Jordan Mailata, he's going to be a free agent in 2026. Landon Dickerson,
25.
He's going to be a free agent in 2025.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
I want Dickerson over Brown any day.
Your left tackle, your left guard. You know what I'm saying?
What's more important?
Who else?
What's more important to Jalen Hurts, Landon Dickerson or AJ Brown?
Jalen Carter's contract. When he gets deeper in. My point in bringing that up is there's going to come a point in time where you have to left tackle, left guard, got to pay those guys. Those guys are going to want top dollar, and the Eagles lock in on the offensive line. They don't play those games. So, by my estimation, and if I'm judging this correctly, AJ Brown's contract is officially up. And let me double check this. AJ Brown's contract he's a free agent in 2027. But you know how wide receivers work. They're going to want their money in 2026. So, what decisions are you making, Eagles fans? Are you paying AJ Brown, or are you making sure Jordan Mailata and Landon Dickerson eat?
Oh, I'm not letting them out the building.
It's a no-brainer for me.
Because hopefully by then Devontae Smith has developed into the guy I want.
Exactly.
You know what I may do? I may play that game and restructure AJ Brown's deal in 26 for one more season. When did you say Devontae deals up? Is it 25?
So Devontae is going to be an unrestricted free agent in 2026. So
yeah.
So
matches up well.
Yep, it matches up because Landon Dickerson and Devontae Smith were drafted in the same draft. Devontae gets the 5th-year option because he's the first round pick.
How do they stagger those extensions?
He's gonna have to do his best.
Stagger them 1 year, then he may come to the table early with Dickerson, like they did with Mailata 2 years ago.
He might.
So that they can stagger the cap. You know what I mean?
So listen, think about this. In 2026, these are the 3 contracts you got to worry about. You got to worry about Landon Dickerson, Jordan Mailata, and Devontae Smith. And meanwhile, AJ Brown's contract ends, or he's an unrestricted free agent in 2027. How we breaking down the bag, Sills?
Well, it's Howie, and I'm gonna, we're gonna work it together.
Howie's gonna make it work somehow, right, Sills? He's the magic man, right, Sills?
Hey, I don't know, man. There's that.
The cap is going up, Sills.
Football that sucks. There's adding and subtracting that comes into this.
Hey, Sills, wait, the cap's going up though.
The cap's
going up.
Yeah, 18%. Guess what? You got two $40 million guys combined and 2 dudes alone.
And guess what? Oh, hold on, wait, real quick now. We're having fun with this, baby. Listen to this. So to keep 2026 in mind, right? AJ Brown expires 2027. Landon Dickerson, Mailata, Devontae Smith expires in 2026. Let's check out the Jalen Hurts cap hits around that time, by the way.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Let's look at that.
Escalate then.
Jalen Hurts' cap hit in 2026, $31.7 million. His cap hit in 2027, $34.8 million. His cap hit in 2028, $42.7 million.
That's not horrible.
It's not, but still.
No, it's not horrible when you have all that other money out there.
When you got all that other money that you got to worry about.
How he can't miss in the draft.
I didn't even talk about defense yet.
We haven't gotten there yet.
We haven't even talked about defense yet.
Listen, hold on for a second. The amount of money that's being spent is because of the deficiencies and the draft picks.
Correct.
He doesn't. Drafting a player gives you the latitude of time to be able to maneuver around when you have to stagger money out. To get Devontae signed, Landon Dickerson signed, what are you going to do with AJ? Restructuring of Hassan. Nolan Smith. If Nolan Smith would have showed up last year, you know what that does? That lessens the time of Reddick on the team. Instead, Reddick now is in a stronger position because the draft pick, Reddick's looking at going, that guy ain't taking my gig for another 2 years. And that you can't be the 31st pick and bomb like that.
Yeah. And look, I want to try to give Nolan Smith a fair shake because they kind of just threw him out there on the back end, and at that time, the defense was shot. I can't blame him but so much.
When you say that, throwing a guy in there, what the hell do you think we're doing here? Hey, little Jimmy Bobby. Like this is like little league football here. Hey, little Bobby, you want to play outside linebacker? Go ahead, try it, kid. What kind of coaching? I'm not saying you're doing. I'm going right. What do you? Hey, little Bobby, why don't we just throw him in there? This is the fucking NFL, dude. What are you talking about here? Let's try this out. Just throw him in there. What kind of coaching are you getting Monday through Friday?
In my opinion, there was no game plan for Nolan. In my opinion, there was no, and I'm not talking about on the field, but I'm talking about as far as just what was their plan for Nolan Smith? I didn't see a plan.
No, it was chaotic. It would just throw him, like you said. That's your observation is exactly what it was. Hey, they threw him out there, Sills, because they threw him out there. That's not coaching and developing, Tone.
Exactly.
Okay.
Listen to this.
I'm gonna pass on because I want to get to the defense because that's the more critical. Kelsey, I want him back. Right. Cam Jurgens, I'm okay with. Lane had an A- year. Okay. A- year is an A+ year to everyone else. So let me get over to the defense. Brandon Graham, you're out.
Yes.
Watch this.
Love him
Fabulous
to death.
career.
Love him to death.
Fantastic.
Love him to death. But
we need eagle to people in the city of Philadelphia for the rest of your life. You will never have to buy anything. You'll be revered. People will want you to do everything. If you think Hugh Douglas has opportunities, you're going to have even more because you delivered a Super Bowl.
But I need that roster spot, though.
I need the roster spot in the dough. All right. Here's what I say about Jordan Davis.
He's on the clock, by the way.
He's running out of time. And you know, people asked the question earlier, well, what do you mean he's running out of time? Well, as of right now, you're not getting another deal here.
As of right now, they're not picking up the fifth-year option.
Okay, that's right. I'm not doing that, and I'm not paying you that because you've got 2 more years left. You got 34 games to prove to us that you deserve another contract, and you're the heir apparent to Fletcher.
After 2024, they had to decide if they're going to pick up the fifth-year option. They got to decide.
I'm not doing it.
So he has 1 year
right now.
He actually has 17 games, not 34 games. He has 17 games to prove if he's long-term manager. 17.
Right. He's got 17 games to show us that, because once again, Tone, if they fail on this, they failed on the equity of time. Okay? Then they have to go get a Hargrave and spend money. So when you spend money, you lose money.
Jordan Davis, he has to work. Here's the thing. He has to work. If he doesn't work, this can set them back so far. He has to pan out.
It's more pressure on Jalen Carter.
It puts more pressure on Jalen Carter. You're right. It does. And I don't want that. And
get this. I'm not even going to talk Fletcher or Milton. I'm going to go because the 2 starters, these 2 guys have to be your starters, Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis. If you go into the 2024 season
and Fletcher's your starter, you got a problem.
You got a major problem here. So I look at it this way. Look, I think he had a great first year. I think he ran into that rookie wall, 13 games, 14 games. It looked like everything, like 100 years of football. Do I still think and have high hopes for him being the next Jerome Brown? I absolutely do.
Mm-hmm.
I have no problem with him. He's the second player taken in the draft, in my opinion, not the 9th. I don't have a problem with anything with him. I just need to see him do it again.
Yeah.
Sound right?
Yeah, that sounds about right. I have no bad things to say about Jalen Carter. He just has to, he just has to increase that wind. That's all.
I'm going to tell you something that I told Clint Hurt that you gave me because you were keeping an eye on his snap count total. This is what I told Clint not last night, 2 nights ago. He asked me about Sweat, and I go, he's their best every down player. What I mean by that is you could put him in a 7-9, head up on a 5. You could play him in a 34-43. I've never seen him stand up, so I don't know if he can do that. But the only reason he's not a first rounder is because of that catastrophic knee injury. And he knew who he was because he played during he was at Seattle, I think, or somewhere else. But they were thinking of drafting him. And he knew him obviously from Florida State. Clint went to Miami. And he goes, what do you make? I go, if you lower his reps, he's a productive kid. He really is. But they had no help at depth at the corners. And to me, if you're going to put him in a nickel package, dude, make sure you put him in the wide side of the field. Give him some room to operate out there. I thought that Desai had him on the short side of the field, and it kept him contained a lot. And I thought also that he had trouble, and I think they thought he had trouble setting the edge a couple times. But what they would do is they were putting tight ends on him over on that side, and they were chipping onto the backer because the backers were not that good. And so Clint's like, that's what we saw on film. And so I said, yeah, I might even think of moving him around from the strong side end to the weak side end because he is your best player. Right. I think you got to lower his reps. I go, I mentioned your name to him. I go, my guy told me he played like almost 300 reps more than he's ever played in his career. He's like, wow. He goes, have you ever heard of that? I go, I've never heard of a guy playing 300 more reps. I've never heard of that. Okay. Yeah. And his production went down. Dude, you know what everyone thinks? If you play a lot of reps, that means you're really good. If you play a lot of reps and you're a big player and you get hit in that game, I think it lowers your production. And I think it lowers the impact of your production when you're playing that volume of plays late in the season and you get worn out.
Yeah, it's rare. It's rare where you have a guy who can just stay on the field like a Max Crosby. He's a rare bird. He's Absolutely. Rare. Aaron Donald, he's a rare bird.
But you remember something about Max Crosby and why Max Crosby can play the amount of plays he plays. Why do you think that is, Tone? They're constantly playing from behind, so they're in 3rd and long. And he's in 3rd down. He's not in 1st and 2nd down. He's not playing against high-volume run teams. You're constantly playing behind the sticks. So what is it? Watch this. You're playing a guy who's going to throw the ball 30 times against you. So you got less contact and impact reps coming at you versus a guy like in the NFC East. Dude, people are going to run the ball. New York runs the ball. Washington runs the ball. Dallas runs the ball. Everybody in the NFC runs the ball. In the AFC, they throw the ball. You have lower impact plays coming at you when you are a pass rusher. I mean, I'm not saying he's not in shape and he's not like a rare – he is. That's why he's one of the top 3 edge rushers. Still, Josh Sweat had a lot of double teams, people running at him. So it just – they just need to help him more.
Yeah, he went like 5 straight weeks, six straight weeks without a sack. I mean, that's unacceptable.
It's totally unacceptable. That's also, I think, the scheme and putting him in bad position too. But
agreed.
The Will linebacker, Cunningham. You know what? I'll tell you what about Cunningham. Watching him on the 22 a couple nights ago, do I want him on the team? I'll keep him on the team for depth, but I got to replace him.
He can't be my number 1 linebacker.
He can't be my starter.
Can't.
He's got to be my special teams guy.
Because, if I'm being fair to him, he was okay. He was okay, but in a room full of
he's a C student.
Yeah, but in a room full of trash cans, what was he? A lawn chair. He was. You know what I mean? He's
a C student.
Yeah.
Okay, Shaq Leonard's out.
Yeah. That was a terrible experiment.
Okay, he's out. Nakobe Dean cannot start. But I'll give you know what I'll do? Nakobe, here's
You
what I'm
gotta
gonna
earn
tell
it.
you,
You
son.
gotta earn it. You gotta earn it.
You're gonna
Sills.
compete. We're gonna bring a guy in. We may even draft another guy in the 3rd round. And you 2 third rounders, you know that movie Batman when the Joker breaks his stick? There's one spot open.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
Okay, and there's 3 of them, and he throws the stick there, and he goes like this. Make it
You
short.
guys, you guys figure it out.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
What I don't like how they talk about Nakobe Dean as if he's a 1st round pick. That's how they talk about him. And my thing is, he was a 3rd round pick. Y'all giving him more reverence than y'all did Davion Taylor. Y'all
You know
drafted him
why
in the
they're
same
doing
round.
it? You know why the Eagles are doing that? They don't want to lower his value. They want to keep the value up. That's why they talk highly of him.
It's ridiculous. It's
It's
hilarious.
not true, but right.
It's hilarious. You should have saw how they handled Davion Taylor. They had no problem putting him on the practice squad. They had no problem dropping him. They had no problem doing anything with that man. He was a 3rd round pick like Nakobe Dean, but since Nakobe Dean went to Georgia, they give him more reverence, more
Well,
leash.
no, because they thought they got a steal.
They thought they got a steal. Okay.
Yep.
He got to stay healthy first, and we'll find out if he was still or not.
Reddick has to be restructured for me to want him back.
It has to.
Again, because you don't have anybody. And your market value is not high. We talked about this, so I'm not going to go into detail more. But to me, I don't think he has leverage.
The only leverage Hassan Reddick has is the fact that Nolan Smith didn't prove that he was ready. That's the only leverage he has.
And the majority of the edge rushers that are free agents are old. 33, 34, 33.9.
Yeah. Yeah, guys that have guys that have a resume. Guys that have a resume at least.
Yeah. Bradbury's a restructure. Do you want him back? You know,
honestly,
Rob, you know what? Let me say something to you that I heard Rob say that may have been the best take I've ever heard him say. You cut that guy, it sends a message to the rest of the locker room.
I loved when he said that.
Man,
I love when Rob said that.
I hadn't thought that before, but it would. If you cut that guy, not just your defensive side of the ball, it would send a message of authority in the building that this isn't all about dollars and cents, because you would change the dynamic of going, well, they robbed Peter to play Paul on the defensive side to pay all these guys on offense.
Mm-hmm.
If you cut that, but the only problem that you would have, though, with that theory, and I love the take, is this. Oh, of course, they're going to cut the guy on defense. They'd never cut one of them dudes on offense.
Who we cut?
No.
Not saying you, but like I'm trying to think, who could we cut on offense? Like to that point, like who's cut worthy?
Dallas Goedert.
Ooh, what's that dead cap hit? I don't know.
I know he makes 15 or 12.
Let me find out what that dead cap hit is real quick before I jump out the window. Hold on, let me see something.
They won't cut Goddard, but they're going to cut my boy over here. Okay.
All right, so this season, Dallas Goedert has a dead cap hit of $22.3 million
for tight end.
Whereas James Bradbury has a dead cap hit of let me make sure I got this right, $17.2 million.
Oh.
So I'm cutting Listen, I'm cutting Bradbury. I don't want any parts of the man.
See, Tone saving that offensive side of the ball. The guy's prejudiced towards his defensive guys. See this guy over here, man? This is what goes on in the locker room. Watch this.
Yo.
See this dude, man? This dude's over here. He's on the knees of the offensive
I forgot.
guys.
I forgot that you were
here, man. We're just the poor folk over here on this side of the ball. He wants to
got
hang
you
out
figured
with
out
the high-end guys.
I get it now.
Like he wants to hang out with the Cristal guys. Me and you are drinking Ante Spumante over here.
Well, we don't drink Cristal. We drink Ace of Spades. But but I get it.
Oh, you're gonna cut the defensive guys. All right.
No. I got you figured out now, Sills. Now I get it. You former DT defensive guy. That's why you go so hard on these offensive guys, man. Oh. Now I get it. Listen, Eagles fans, we got it. We figured it out now. Keep in mind, Sills is a defensive guy, so he's gonna rip these offensive guys any chance he gets. Keep that in mind, you guys.
It only took
You know-
you 2 years.
Hey, listen, the defensive guys know the hot chicks want to hang out with the offensive guys. They know that.
I hate offensive guys. I do, man. I can't stand those
Oh, man.
prima donna, big paid money guys. Because you know all the millionaires are in the O-line.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
there's 5 of them. Right? And I'm like, pay the running back, pay the quarterback, pay the O-line, pay the receivers. Now, Tone wants to cut one of my guys in the secondary. Silsey sucked. I know, but still.
So what's your game plan for Bradbury? What's your game plan?
You're right. Get his ass out of there.
Because I know you're not really fully in agreement with this, but I'm totally ready to go through growing pains with that defense. Get younger, get faster.
But Tone, watch this when you say this. Cut Bradbury, Birds out. Blankenship can't be a starter. So you're going to replace with youth and out in the market 3 of your 4 secondary guys. And you're going to go to a new year with that.
You said something interesting, right? At the end of the day, cutting Bradbury, as bad as he was, at the end of the day, if you cut him, that actually adds another thing on your to-do list. You know, you have to find a replacement for that. Yeah. You know, so it's easy to say, oh, cut a guy. It's easy to say that. But when you really think about it critically, if you cut a guy, now you got to replace him. And now that begs the question, is that a problem the Philadelphia Eagles are trying to fix this offseason? Because in my opinion, you cut Bradbury, you draft the corner in the first round, call it a day. That's my perspective. 8 to 17 million. It is what it is. Y'all been paying Alshon Jeffrey for the past 6 years. Y'all be all right. You know what I mean? So, but again, that's my perspective. And it's maybe that's the reason why I'm not in the building with those guys, because I might fuck up the books. You never know.
Hey, I like your thinking. By the way, I'm going on with Colarulo tomorrow, and I told him the only way that I'm going on your show is if I get lawyer consultation fees for free for the rest of my life. I was like, it's the only way I'm going on, man. And,
well, you know, Paisan to Paisan.
No,
you know,
that's the only reason. I'm very partial to Italians. And of course, Tone, you're a Paisan too. So as far as I'm concerned,
I appreciate that. I'll take it.
Okay, yeah, no. Hey, man, yeah, the brothers and Italians, I think we're all from the same mom, so we're all good. So Colarulo gets a pass because he's a Paisan, and he's got something to offer me because you never know. I'm Italian. I may need a call in the middle of the night for something, so I need to have some consulting fees waived on me.
We're going to see some headlines with Sills putting somebody in the headlock.
Hey, no, we get this. My wife and I have a bondsman. His name is Dino. What is it? No, it's Vito something.
Oh, that's all I needed to know.
The name of the guy.
That's all I needed to hear. That's all I needed. His first name is Vito. That's all I needed to hear.
His name is Vito, and he's a bail bondsman. He's one of our...
Listen. Vito the bail bondsman.
Vito the bail bondsman.
That just sounds...
Colarulo the lawyer. So I got Colarulo the lawyer and Vito the bondsman.
That sounds like something out of a Quentin Tarantino movie.
Right. I'm ready to roll, man. I'm ready to rock here. Tone,
sure.
Appreciate it, my friend.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you.
You got it, man. All right, folks. Hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
Go for the pulls and the pools. Go for the oohs and the ahs. Go for the bubbles and the bubbly. Go for the story and the stories. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Underdog Fantasy has a way for you to play alongside your favorite football team all season long with their fantasy pick'em game. You pick between 2 to 5 players, select whether they'll go higher or lower on one of their stats, then do what you usually do on a Sunday, watch the games. You can win up to 20 times your money in a single game by going 5 for 5. It's a fantasy game, and the Sports Betting Show wants you to get involved. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com. When you sign up, use the promo code WIN, and Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. That's UnderdogFantasy.com. Use the promo code WIN.
Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Rohan's invited. Hey, Rohan likes you, Tone. If he ever gets down to Jamaica, come on over to my casa. He's got a resort down there. He owns a resort in Jamaica, in Kingston. My wife and I are going to go down there, I think, this summer with my daughter. Get on the airplane, come on down. I wish I could go alone. Have you ever seen the Jamaican scenery? Man, is that a kind way of saying it? Have you ever seen the Jamaica scenery down there? Just saying. Yeah. I don't know what you're laughing at, MG. I have no idea what you're laughing at. Okay? I know, man. Hey, let me just say this to you. I'll give you guys a small story about Sil showing up. Hey, Tone, you're going to dig this story. Oh, man. I completely concur. And hey, Tone, I'm a connoisseur of that. Affair. I'm a connoisseur of that. Yes, sir. You know, Tone, I like the shelf. I don't know. Hey, I don't know what the hell that means. I don't know. So, hey, all I'm saying is I like it like, I like it like that. I like it like that. That's all I'm saying. Okay? I'll tell you a story. Senor. So we're down in Miami and I'm playing for the Canes. And Bermuda's like a 25-minute plane flight away. And it's a 25-minute plane flight. And me and this guy, Danny Stubbs, got so hammered. The shelf. Thank you, Twiz. Some of you know what I'm talking about. M. Reyes, I have no idea what you're talking about. Whew, man. Yeah. You're not wrong, M. Reyes. It's kind of like wine down there. I'll take the Allegheny hemp. Tiger Red. I'll have the Humboldt Green Jamaica Blue. Yes, over here, I'll take the Smack Oceanic White Red with a nice tinge of hash. Is that dipped in hash? I wouldn't know what that is. How you doing? Hey, so anyway, so I get so hammered with my boys. Okay? I get so hammered with my boys. I wake up. Tone, hey, check it out. I woke up. I was in the Bahamas. I had my pants down to my ankles. I'm in a bedroom, no shirt on, by myself, and I had no idea where I was. So I go downstairs to the front desk. I go, where am I? You're in Nassau. I'm like, Nassau what? New York? And you're in Bermuda. And I'm like, Bermuda what? I thought I was in Jamaica, Queens. I didn't know where I was. I was like, how did I get here? Dude, it was like a scene out of like, what's those movies? It was, I had no idea how I got there. Okay. Oh, Matt, I woke up. I'm like, I go down to the front desk and I'm like, where am I? You're in the Bahamas. You're in Bermuda. Bahamas is an hour. That's it. The Bahamas. Thanks, Slagger. The Bahamas. So we're in the Bahamas. And I'm like, that's the one. And I wake up, I'm in the Bahamas. It's like a Slagger, right? It's like a one of those hot planes across to get there. Where am I? Here in the Bahamas. What? Ugh. Oh. Anyway. Yeah. Those were the days of Big Sills. Ice Sills. Don't worry about earlier with the whole. Oh, okay. No, yeah, Philly, I don't know what you're saying. I'd never goof on you guys outside of here. I would never take advantage. Hey, get this. Philly 007. So all you guys know, I would never talk shit on any of you. Any of you. And even the ones that talk shit on me outside of our show. Like on my Facebook, my Twitter. We're family, man. Only I can talk shit on you. No one else can. And you can talk shit on me. Okay? That's a rule that I live by. Well, what's it to you? I'm not going to ever talk shit on anyone that comes to my show every day and supports us. It's just not going to happen. Okay? It's just not. So, God, I have no idea who we had. We had Rohan Marley on today. Tone is always awesome. I mean, I I don't know who's tomorrow. You know, you're gonna die. Hey, Tone, I'm working on Killer Mike, and Luther knows him very well, and he is a huge sports guy. He's a Dolphin fan. Okay, and I heard you love him, so I'm working on it. Hey, Sil Sirianni's the best coach in the world. Don't talk shit. Dude, remember something, Reyes. Nick Sirianni is Spider Rico. He'll always be Spider Rico. You understand that? Nick Spider Rico. I want to do this before I get out of here. I wrote it down. I spent the time, and I want to do it. So I just got the list of the top 10 free agents that are going to be out in the NFL. And this is not anything to do with the Eagles, but I want to show you some of the money now that's going around. Hey, Tone, you're right about Cousins. This is insane. Chris Jones, 29 years old. He's going to command a 3-year deal at $84.5 million at $28.1 million a year. You're going to pay $28 million a year for a $29 million for a 29-year-old DT. Will somebody pay? If he wins the Super Bowl, he's going to get that deal. Kirk Cousins is second. 35 years old. 3 years. $118.5 million. You're right, Tone. $39.6 million bucks on a $118 million deal, and he's 35, and he's going to sign the deal until he's 38 years old. That's insanity. That shows you what they think of him. Josh Allen, the edge rusher from the Jags, 26 years old. Get this. 5 years, 108.6, 21.7 million per. T. Higgins, wide receiver. Get this number. He's 24 years old. He's going to command a 4-year deal, 66.3 at 16.5. I think that's actually reasonable. Jalen Johnson, cornerback, 24. That's the guy I wanted the Eagles to get from the Bears. 5 years, 78.7, 15.7. Too bad they got those two corners now where I'd want him. Brian Burns, edge, 25 years old, 5 years, 108.7, is going to command a $21.7 million deal. Get this. Look at the price tags for these DTs. This is why Jordan Davis, to what Tone and I were talking about, is so important. Christian Wilkins. How many people know who he is? He plays DT for the Dolphins. He's 28. He's going to get 80.9 on a 4-year deal, making $20.2 million. Christian Wilkins is going to make $20 million a year? Dude, the clock's on Jordan Davis. He's got to step into it. Antoine Winfield Jr., 25. I thought he was older. Safety. He's going to make $18.5 million. Man, I'd love to have him, but too expensive. And even Michael Pittman, get this, 4 years, $90.8 million. He's going to get $22.7 million. I actually think T. Higgins is better. So, whatever. All right. I want to thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for coming aboard. We really appreciate it. Xander, Big Joe, we thank you so much. Tone, way to keep kicking ass, man. You were absolutely awesome. By the way, Tone got Rohan on today for us. So he did all the heavy work and the heavy lifting for us. All I did was just go boom, 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 send. And he did the rest of it for us. Thank you, Tone. Absolutely awesome. I'll catch him tomorrow, by the way, on Sports Take, too. And each and every single day, usually at around 3:30. Thank you so much, 2 to 6, and we'll catch you on the flip side.